Welcome in. Happy Wednesday to you. Once again, just a beautiful autumn day. It is a day of turmoil, however, in the National Football League. They've got their first crisis of this year, and it's not just COVID. It is what to do about the Tennessee Titans. Yes, the team down in Nashville early this morning announced there were 2 more new positive tests. That gets the number of Titans who have had positive COVID tests to 22, not just players, but personnel as well. And so they decided not to reopen their facility. Then later in the day, a story emerged where pictures were taken of at least 15 players, one identified as the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, of having an organized practice at a high school there, MBA, Montgomery Bell Academy, a great private school there. They allowed them to use their facilities while school was going on. So there were several witnesses to all of this. And this gathering, this players' practice basically, took place after the commissioner and the National Football League had announced as part of the protocol with their COVID, they could not have any gatherings or any practice. And it's led some to believe that if indeed, because of all this COVID, that the game this week with the Buffalo Bills, if it had to be postponed, that this could be a forfeiture. I've heard other penalties, including losing draft choices and things of that nature. But this could be, on a year where this team is off to this great start, a forfeiture to the Buffalo Bills. I can't remember in all the time that I have watched National Football League, or really any major league in America, where there has been a forfeiture. You tell me, Brett Norsworthy, wouldn't this be some sort of precedent?
Dave, it would be, and it would be very heavy-handed from the league, but I think they do want to send a message, and I don't know that it's full-scale cover-up, but a little bit of one, and that might get them. Now, look, the Titans weren't going to challenge the 72 Dolphins, but what a way to get knocked from the ranks of the undefeated.
I hate to say this, but in a league that has fined coaches $100,000, teams $250,000 for not wearing masks.
Tom Brady for inflated, deflated footballs. Come on.
This is probably worthy.
This is major.
This is probably worthy. And then, of course, you know that there were more New England Patriots that were found to have COVID, including Stephen Gilmore, who after the game with the Kansas City Chiefs the other day,
maybe the best defense back in the game,
and went and hugged Patrick Mahomes, maybe the best quarterback in the game. Holy smokes! Now, if
I hugged you yesterday.
I know it, but you don't have it. Gilmore does. That's
clean.
The problem.
I'm clean. I think I'm clean.
You better be.
I may have a lot going on, but I don't have COVID.
You better be.
Yeah, I know I am. And, well, I don't know because I hadn't been tested, but I know I feel well. Anyway, you're right. A lot of those other cases, and I mentioned inflated, deflated footballs, good Lord, to spend that much time and have that national hysteria over that was so silly when Andrew Luck played with the same ones and wanted it deflated, and the league knew it and was running a sting operation. Anyway, all that stuff is jaywalking compared to this and these times. And I think the league, if they go forfeit, I'm not going to say they're wrong.
I'm not either. I really am not. This in this time is an egregious breaking of rules. I really wonder if Mike Vrabel knew about it. It was only 15 guys, so you got to have the feeling. Quarterback who wants to keep this thing going, and he's trying to be a good soldier in his own mind.
That's 30% of your team.
He's saying, "Hey guys, come on, let's just keep our timing together. Let's do this. Nobody needs to know about it." I hope that is the case, because if Mike Vrabel is involved in this, and this became sort of a kind of will look the other way but accepted practice, then they have even more problems. But you would have to think, if you're the Buffalo Bills, why is it on you when they broke protocol and got more cases and they can't play the game? Why do they have to reschedule down the road, lose a game this week, and have to play extra games later when that was not supposed to be on the schedule? I don't think it's on the Buffalo Bills. I think it's on the Titans. And I think it would be a fair thing to make them forfeit the game, and it would set a precedent that you better follow league protocol in this thing. And look, this is starting to get a little out of control. We've mentioned this story. This is the latest, but before it broke about the practice at NBA, there was a guy named Dr. Dan Sills, who is the chief medical officer for the National Football League, who told NFL Network that he's meeting with the commissioner, and they have everything still open on the table. Every option is there, including pausing or resetting the season, because they've already canceled the Steelers and the Titans, and now you're looking at the Titans again, and who knows what's going to happen with New England now after they've gotten more. And maybe you need to pause for a week or two, get everybody isolated again, and restart. I don't know what if that will be the case. Maybe that's what the Titans are going to hope for. But this is a crisis right now for the NFL in this pandemic.
It is. It no question that it is, and it's probably. I think it's probably bigger than the Cardinal crisis that the Cardinals caused to Major League Baseball because of the limited number of the schedule. Now, it was just 60 games for Major League Baseball this year, but the NFL, and timing, there's just so much calendar until the first February or first Sunday in February for the Super Bowl in Tampa. We'll talk to TJ Reeves about it, and that's in the news today as well, as the governor of Florida has given the all clear, full capacity at Jacksonville, Tampa, and in Miami for Dolphins, Buccaneers, and Jags.
Wow. Is that starting this week?
Not this week. Restrictions remain through the next home game, but after that, come one, come all.
Yeah, I talked a little earlier with TJ. Of course, he's still holding his breath from what happened last night in the Yankees-Rays. That series now tied 1-1. By the way, right now in where are they playing the Braves Marlins? That's in that's in Petco, right? That's in San Diego, right?
No, it is in Houston.
Oh, in Houston. Okay. Braves lead 2-0, bottom of the sixth, over the Marlins, and the Braves up 1-0. Also, the A's.
Have you caught any of that game today?
I have not. I watched a bunch.
I'm telling you,
night.
it is a symphony of analysts today. Matt Vesgerson, play-by-play, he's good, but the two analysts, Jim Cott and Buck Showalter, wow. I promise you, if you landed here from Mars and you just watched this game today, you would have so much baseball knowledge by the end of the day. Jim Cott and Buck Showalter are so good.
Yeah, Jim Cott.
Independent of each other, and then
Cott's
you get them
terrific.
both.
I love Jim Cott. I'm getting to like Brian Anderson, too, with Ron Darling.
I think Brian Anderson's great.
He is.
Superstar in the making.
Oh, he's already there. He's doing the NBA on TNT in the playoffs.
Yeah, the money ain't going down, is it?
Well,
I don't know. It might.
I think he's already made it, my friend.
This might be the time that the money starts going down.
He's doing well.
Darn it.
The Astros
reach right in Drew's pocket back in the spring too, when the money went down.
Astros, A's, and A's up. That game's tied 2-2, top of the second. And
That's
course,
at Dodger Stadium. The ball is flying out of Dodger Stadium in Petco. My goodness!
Oh, I know.
They can't keep it in play.
Well, they were either hitting home runs or striking people out. How many? There were like 18 strikeouts last night in that game.
That's the game now. But Buck Showalter today was talking about how fast the grass at Minute Maid that it is in Houston, because it doesn't. They keep it cut tight, and it doesn't get enough. It gets some, but not enough natural light and sunlight. And he said it is as fast as a lot of AstroTurf fields. I'm telling you, if you turned on that game today, you would learn enough to almost be functional to have a baseball conversation.
Well, that game is 2-2 A's Astros, and of course Houston is up 2 games to love in that series. So this one could be an elimination game today. It was fun last night. You remember what Ron Tillery said to us in his analysis of what might happen in Game 4 between the Lakers and the Heat? He said
he nailed it.
The Lakers' others have to perform if they are to win. And that is exactly what happened. The 2 biggest buckets in the game that were made down the stretch came from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. It was he who hit a 3 and a deuce, and right before he hit the 3, Jimmy Butler missed the 3 that would have given Miami the lead.
5-point swing.
And that
was a big swing.
That swing right there was the difference in my mind down the stretch of the game. And now you'd have to think, because I thought it was must-win for the Lakers, and now I think it's over. I think that won it for them because as good as Miami is, and they've really been competitive, and I give them all the credit in the world, but they're not
might be the team
enough.
of the bubble, but they're not going to be the champion.
No, they're not good enough to win 3 in a row against the Lakers. They're just not. They may win another game, but they're not good enough to win 3 in a row. The Lakers, I think, won
probably aren't
the
many out there
NBA
that
championship
could.
last night. No.
Yeah, they've got it going their way now, and Ron was right. Just get something from your satellite guys, kind of, you can put it in indelible ink for LeBron and for Anthony Davis, and then get contributions from someone else. You're not going to win a game with them being the stars, but have them be helpers.
You did.
And that KCP3 was big.
He was big. Green was big. He hit some big threes in that game. Lucas did okay. And Rondo, even though he did not score, Rondo had, I want to say 7 or 8 assists, but he had a couple of steals in key moments, and he figured out ways to disrupt. And that's really what he's good at. And Rondo's still a very effective player. It was the others, like Ron Tillery said, they had to have, and that was the difference in the game last night. And Tyler Hero, which, you and I both love him. You were the first one to really recognize him. He's had some stinker moments in this series. Game 1,
missed
not
a big
very
free
good.
throw
And
last night.
And last night, I did not think he was consistent at all, and I thought he kind of hurt him. And you have to get production from him for sure.
Danny
to
Green. Don't I remember him with the Spurs back in the ABA?
Yeah.
Has he been around that long?
No, not in the ABA.
Man, he's been around a while, though,
Yes.
and hits shots, doesn't he?
He does.
Not big game Bob, but kind of some big shots, Danny.
He hits a few. Not like the big shot Bob.
No,
not that league. We are.
You sure he wasn't with Billy Paulson and those cats
I'm
in the ABA?
I'm certain. You know how old that guy would be if he was?
Old.
he'd be our my age. He would be my age.
I was 10, 11, and 12 or younger going to the ABA, and that's a lot.
And
of
we
years
know
since
you're
then.
old now, so that's for sure.
Yeah.
Today's a big day with TJ Reeves for me, and you were talking about the crowds and the Super Bowl and everything else. You know what happens Thursday, don't you?
I do, Dave.
It's a Mel's Hot Dogs Bet Day. And
I don't think you've ever won one of those, have you?
I know I've lost a couple. I'm not sure how many I've lost.
I don't think you've ever won one.
Well, I'm not getting points, because I just think, with Nick Foles, look out.
I think you're 0 for Mills. I do.
We'll have to ask TJ about that. But the vet will be on the line today when we talk with him. He comes your way at 3:30. Barrett Jones on the SEC and college football. The ESPN announcer and the former great from Alabama and ECS. I always got to get ECS in, don't I? Barrett Jones joins us at 4. At 4:30, there is a great little, what is it, a mailer? Or what would you call this publication called The Blitz?
They're online now, but The Blitz has been around forever. It's one of those compact informational things. Yeah, it's been around for a long time. It's online now at theblitzsports.com. Jim Gum from Cleveland, Tennessee, hometown of Steve Sloan and Rex Dockery, Cleveland, Tennessee.
Oh, you know what? I forgot about Steve Sloan. I knew it was Rex Dockery. Was from
yeah.
So wait a second. Does he
I'm
still
gonna ask
live
Jim
in Cleveland, Tennessee?
I think Steve Sloan is retired in Orlando.
No.
He was UC.
Does Jim Gum?
Jim Gum does, yeah.
He publishes
that's
this
where
from
Jim,
Cleveland. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, he publishes that out of Cleveland, and he wants our listeners. We're going to give away a subscription when he joins us. Toward the end of it, we'll have someone call in. You will love it in a concise, compact, short form. You can learn a lot. It's kind of like listening to Jim Cotton and Buck Showalter of college football.
Well, you know what I like about it? I've seen it, right? And I love that on the front, he gives you about, 10 or 15 little tidbits every week that are applicable to whatever's going to happen.
Nuggets.
Great little nuggets. That's a good way to put it.
It's a must for a broadcast.
And then every conference is broken down with the schedule. So you see exactly, if you need to know who won a game and when and what they've done, and you're like, you're just trying to figure out for fun purposes of lines and things of that nature, this thing's got it all for you. It tells you scores of each game of each team, gives you standings from each league. Really good. All in one little place. You can always go online and find these things, but it's much easier.
But you're surfing around. Yeah, and it is a must too. And I'm really looking forward to visiting him. He's a really nice man, and looking forward to visiting him at 4:30.
And we then we'll have the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference on with us at 5. It became official today. The ACC formally announced 20 conference games this season. We'll see. I'm going to ask them if there's going to be travel partners and things of that nature. And, I think they're still planning on having both the men and the women's tournament in Fort Worth again, which, by the way, was a great place. And I think they've got a 5-year deal, which is part of the reason why I think the office is moved.
Still holding on the inaugural tournament in Fort Worth.
We
didn't get to the starting line last year.
No. I never even walked in the place. I saw it from the outside. I hear it's beautiful.
Great-looking building.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. From the outside it is. I have no idea what it looks like inside. And then at 5:30, on the business of bowls, Steve Earhart will see how jazzed he might be about the Shelby County Health Department's announcement yesterday, where they're going from 12 feet spacing to 6 feet. And I imagine he'll be able to get the 12,000 that Memphis is getting in for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He joins us at 5:30. At 5:50, that'll be Taco Bell crunch time. So as always, we've got a busy Wednesday ahead of us.
We sure do. And if you want to enjoy the games with the FanDuel app, you can. Hey, Tennessee Sports Betting, it's almost here, and FanDuel Sportsbook's giving you an exclusive offer to get started. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving users $50 in free bets just for signing up. You heard that right. They're giving you $50 in free site credit to register and verify early, no deposit required. FanDuel, America's #1 sports betting site, for a reason. They've got odds on all the biggest sports in a simple, intuitive app that makes it easy to find the bet you're looking for, then lock it in. And unlike other sports books, once you win, FanDuel, they get you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? That's simple, because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out their fantastic app for yourself. Just be sure to sign up and register using promo code CASH so they know we sent you. When you verify your account, you'll receive $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook goes live. That's promo code CASH to get $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833, but go by and look at all the beautiful cars. Lexus of Memphis offering the perfect golden opportunity fall sales event. Great offers on the remaining 2020 models and 2021s. They're there and more on the way. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833 and experience amazing Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, those are the COVID numbers along with the NFL because that's a part of it all. Breaking protocol by the Titans, obviously, story of the day because it could lead to a forfeiture. We'll have to wait and see. In the statement by the chief med officer for the NFL, Dan Sills, that they could pause, certainly widens your eyes. And I hate to say it, but we had a blip today in Shelby County, 207 new cases. So that's 2 days in a row. We've really taken a backward step, 3 new fatalities, and now 1.5% of all Shelby County's COVID cases have ended up in people passing away. Hospitalization numbers went up slightly today, and I hate to say it, they're in the 90 percentile, which means we are back into the red safety alert zone. That is not good. There were 3,200 tests, and the positivity went up, still very manageable at 6.4%. Tennessee's got over 200,000 cases. 205 with 2,600 have passed. Mississippi at 101,000 cases and 3,000 who have passed away. Arkansas, 88,000 and close to 1,500 fatalities. In the United States, 7.75 million, but we've had 5 million recoveries, 216,000 who have passed. And the world dashboard, 32.25 million, almost 27 million recoveries now. And worldwide, 1,057,000 who have died.
My top story of the day, the Rays, they tie the series against the Yankees. Dodgers easy in game 1. Braves up 1-0 for the series. And up in this game today, 2-0 in the game right now against the Marlins. And the hated Astros, unless you're from Houston or Harris County or maybe Texas, about everybody else, they don't really like the Astros. And they can close it out today. They're tied at 2 in the bottom of the second, get the brooms out and win the series over Oakland. And if they do, you know what's coming, don't y'all? If the Astros win it, you know what's coming. What's coming, Drew? What's coming, Dave?
They're gonna say, "Hey, we weren't cheating. We weren't stealing any signs anymore. Look at this. We're in the LCS."
That for sure. They're going to defend themselves, but something else. If they won it all, you know what's coming? The dreaded asterisk. People will be saying they deserve it.
You lose me when you say it. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
The asterisk by the short season, the goofy year, the goofy.
That they deserve it because
that'll be who people want to take their pound of flesh out on.
Well,
no way you put asterisk by the Yankees. No way you put it by the Dodgers. But we'll show the Astros. You'll be the pinata.
The Astros did get the benefit of not having fans this year. There's no question in my mind about that.
Not top story of the day.
Back to the NFL. Monday Night Football, if there is not going to be a pause, and I'm not saying there's going to be anyway, but I know that the chief med officer and the commissioner are going to meet and everything is on the table. I don't think that will happen this quickly. I think they'll think about baseball and the Cardinals and the Marlins. They'll think about what happened with the PGA Tour. I don't think they'll go there quite that quickly. But there is another issue with Monday Night Football. And that is the game is supposed to be in New Orleans, the Saints and the Chargers, and they may have to move that game to a neutral. They're thinking about moving it to Indy and Lucas Field. This is because of Hurricane Delta. It's the hurricane. You've got cheating from protocol, you've got COVID cases everywhere, and now you've got hurricanes you got to worry about. What a nightmare for the commissioner, Roger Goodell.
What a year. A hurricane named after the area it's going to go right through first, the Mississippi Delta, and after an airport and a water faucet company. Woo! I mean, it's going to be buckets of rain, and it's passing. It is scheduled to pass over Vaught Hemingway Stadium, literally over the stadium, about kickoff Saturday. 4 to 6 inches of rain in the forecast for Oxford Saturday afternoon starting at 5 o'clock.
Who does
My
that
not top story?
Whoa. Who does that favor? I guess it favors a team that can run.
And Alabama can do that.
Yeah.
And I think it favors offense because they know where they're going.
Yeah, maybe so.
Now, wet ball. And who's had the best wet ball practice so far? We kidded ourselves. My not top story. We kidded ourselves that we had a series last night. Since the heat injuries to Dragic and Adebayo, this really has been over. Last night would have made it more fun, but I think it's time to crown the Lakers and start now worrying about when, if, and how 2020 and 2021 begins, near and far.
Well, I'm going to promise you this. This is a lock, okay? Next year will not be the 2021 season. It will just be the 21 season.
I know you're right. You are right. It will just be 2021. And when does it start? Does it start in a bubble till we can get fans back? Does it start late January? Does it start February? Do they start until we have a vaccine?
You know what? Here's how it'll start. It'll start if college basketball is effective with spacing at 6 feet. And if college basketball gets through with everything, it will start with the 6 feet spacing, which means what, about 4,000 or 5,000 people in these stadiums? And then once we get the vaccine, it will grow until everybody's vaccinated and we can have full stadiums again. I don't know if that'll happen within their season, but I think their test case will be college basketball. And those are our top and our not top stories. We mentioned how busy we are. TJ Reeves will join us here momentarily. We are sitting in the Family Leisure Studio. I invite you to please head to see my friends Lindsay and Billy and all the crew that go out of their way to give you the world's biggest spa. So that's what's going on now all the way through October, where you'll find 30% off spas and 30% off the swim spas. Those are the big ones. Oh, they're cool. Choose from hundreds of different kinds of spas, and they come from multiple manufacturers. The one common denominator is high-tech, state-of-the-art. You only get quality at Family Leisure. Special financing is available if you need it. Also, professional delivery, always available. Oh, and by the way, a lot of you keeping pools open or closing pools, however you look at it, we're at the end of the season, and accessories and chemicals have a real special price. Go find out for yourself. Get to I-40 and Whidden Road, where Family Leisure is dedicated to making your backyard, your patio, a staycation adventure. Back in just a minute, we go to Tampa. Our friend TJ Reeves is standing by, and he comes your way next.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your heating system cleaned? How about a safety inspection? Right now, Conway Services is offering our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system for only $69. That's right, for only $69, we'll come out and perform our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system. We'll also include a complete safety inspection using our state-of-the-art camera system, making sure your heating system is safe to operate this winter. Plus, we'll run a carbon monoxide test on your heating system, all for only $69. You can have the peace of mind knowing your heating system is safe and ready to operate on those cold winter nights. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. Call this week and ask for the early bird special, and we'll perform your super tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Hey, Tennessee, sports betting is almost here, and FanDuel Sportsbook is giving you an exclusive offer to get started. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving users $50 in free bets just for signing up. You heard that right. They're giving you $50 in free site credit to register and verify early. No deposit required. FanDuel is America's #1 sports betting site for a reason. They've got odds on all the biggest sports and a simple, intuitive app that makes it easy to find the bet you're looking for, then lock it in. And unlike other sportsbooks, once you win, FanDuel gets you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you is to download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out their fantastic app for yourself. Just be sure to sign up and register using promo code GASMAN so they know we sent you. When you verify your account, you'll receive $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. That's promo code GASMAN to get $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live.
21 plus in present Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Have you been to a Burlington lately? They have unbelievable deals on amazing brands and styles at up to 60% off other retailers' prices. No coupons or sales, just fabulous values every single day. It's a treasure hunt with new bargains arriving all the time and savings that'll surprise you. At Burlington, you get more for less, whether it's back to school, work, or just back. Now more than ever, you'll love the deals. You'll love Burlington.
You know what sounds good? Fresh sandwiches and salads, homemade soups and desserts. And you know where to find all this delicious food? Paradise Cafe at Poplar and Ridgeway in the Regalia Shopping Center. The name says it all. Paradise Cafe makes their food fresh. Salads, sandwiches, cookies, and brownies. Hand-selected fruit, pimento cheese, even 4 kinds of chicken salad. The homemade soups change daily. They're said to be the best in the city. Try the signature turkey burger on ciabatta or shrimp salad on a croissant. Then top it off with a low-fat shake. Paradise Cafe has 11 kinds. Paradise Cafe, open Monday through Saturday, 10:30 to 2:30. Observing current social distancing guidelines with patio seating. Curbside pickup and delivery are also available. Fresh and homemade for you. That's Paradise Cafe in the heart of East Memphis at Poplar and Ridgeway inside the Regalia Shopping Center. You know what sounds good? Paradise Cafe.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stack. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolchin and Brett Norsworthy.
Somewhere, somehow, somebody must have kicked you around some. Tell me why.
I think that's how Nick Foles felt, somebody kicking him around some. Not this Thursday night. No, sir. They're coming in. They think they're bullies. You know, this Tampa thing is taking over, the way the Lightning played, and now the Rays. My goodness, it's title town. But they get tripped up in Chicago on Thursday. They'll be in Soldier Field. We'll see the old man Brady against a pretty good Bears defense, too. I don't want to underestimate that. And we've got, of course, TJ Reeves, sideline reporter for the Bucs for many, many, many years. And we always have an annual bet on this game whenever they play. It's a Mel's hot dog.
When the Bears are good, it's always like a 5-course meal, Brett and Drew. But when the Bears are bad, it's a Mel's hot dog. Is that how this is?
What are you talking about?
Today?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't think he's ever won against you.
I think I've taken you to the Columbia. I might have taken you to Burns. I can't remember that. I know.
Right.
I know. I think I took the whole family to Mel's the last time. I'm due. And if I
hadn't heard red meat and lobster yet.
I'm going to tell you right now. If I win this bet, I'm going not only hot dog, but I'm going Polish too. I'm going too. If I win,
let me
I'm
ask you this question because the Bucs are a bit banged up. But come the start of the third quarter, who's the quarterback? Mitch Trubisky in, or Nick Foles playing the whole way?
Nick Foles. I think Matt Nagy is now pretty well committed to at least giving him 2 games to see, right? I mean, he deserves that. I honestly, in all seriousness, I think Trubisky just didn't do the job, and he was given the job. That's, they brought Foles in there for insurance, and Mitch was so bad that they said, okay, now we got to give this other guy a shot, and he deserves a shot. He was a good partner, when they announced the news about Trubisky, he said, let me tell him, because they had become friends, and he was really trying to help the guy. I think Foles deserves it.
He was there for him.
And I think, honestly, I think the guy on the spot here, too, is Nagy, because
he sure is. He's playing. He's coaching for his job.
He should be. He has not delivered this offensive genius that we thought we were getting.
Well, it was good 2 years ago, and then it took backward steps last year. And let me remind you, Nick Foles, there's going to be so much attention about the Super Bowl matchup with the Eagles against the Patriots that they won. Those are 2 different organizations, 2 different teams. Nick Foles hasn't won a regular season start in 3 years. So, and he didn't win Sunday at home. So,
how long, TJ?
You know what that tells me, TJ? He's due.
Okay.
Very due. You know what that'll get you at the track, betting the due theory. We know who's going to be in there at quarterback if he's breathing for Tampa Bay, though.
Yeah, Mr. Brady silenced some critics last week with 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers. NFC Offensive Player of the Week, by the way, earlier today. And I fully understand, 43 years old, we can't say that we expect that there aren't going to be some hiccups. Hopefully there's no physical problems, but at least for right now, he looks like the real deal. The Bucs are very banged up at receiver. They're not going to have Chris Godwin, their outstanding number 2 receiver. Mike Evans is questionable to play, ankle injury from the game Sunday, even though he had 100 yards receiving. We'll see. And the Buc defense is improved. This might be a low-scoring game. If you're the Buccaneers, find a way to gut it out, win it. You win 4 in a row, and you've changed the whole narrative after the Week 1 loss to the Saints if you can win 4 straight. So we'll see what happens. Mel's hot dog on the line. The next time that you're down here, or the next time I get up to Memphis, I don't know if we got to go to Corky's or Rendezvous or where we're going, but it's on the line now for Thursday night.
Well, I am sure that I will be in Tampa to play USF at least one time this year. I'm trying to remember where the
All right. The Americans basketball schedule is out. You know you're coming here, and it's not just one meeting in Memphis.
Right.
I mean, we got to lock this down. If the Bucs roll Thursday night, you can't have amnesia on me that the Tigers didn't show up in Tampa and there's no Mel's hot dog. Come on.
Have I ever let you down on that? I mean, I cannot
Drew,
believe...
pull the clip on that. That's just a generic Woloshyn, have I ever let you down? It wasn't specific to me. I mean, come on.
I cannot believe
it was very generic.
I'm hearing from this guy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now,
right up until the end, you didn't want to give the Tampa Bay Lightning the time of day before they won the Stanley Cup. And by the way, the Cup was at the stadium last week, at Raymond James Stadium for the Buccaneer game. You may have seen some of the photos and the social media posting that they were eating popcorn out of it in the suite with Giselle, with Tom's wife Giselle, the Lightning players. So they had a good time. The Cup is making the rounds around town. Every player gets to spend a day with it, so that's good. And then we'll eventually, I'm sure, work our way to the Rays and the Yankees in the middle of that series. And in the crazy world of 2020, they're playing it, of course, in San Diego, California.
One more Bucs question. What about Gronk? He has been a non-factor, and the give and take between Arians and Brady, is it as good as it appears, or are they just playing nice in front of the cameras?
No, they're getting along swimmingly, and it's a long season. And Gronkowski had a 6-catch game at Denver 2 weeks ago. He caught 6 passes. Last week he only caught 1. He was only targeted twice. But I mean, with the injuries at receiver, he's going to be counted on probably a little bit more. And here's the reality. This is the truth. It is 2 years removed from the last time he played. He took a full year off. He was beat up in the final year that he played. He may not be the same player anymore. He may not be able to fully run by everybody all the time, every game, but he is still dangerous to make plays here and there. And let's see if that continues on Thursday night.
All right, there is other news for the Bucs and really the state of Florida that the governor now is saying it won't be long, and you're going to have full stadiums. Is that right?
Let it
rip.
He
is okay. So the clarification of it is he is authorizing that if the Buccaneers, the Dolphins, the Jaguars, the University of Florida, Florida State, USF, UCF, any of them, University of Miami, want to have full capacity. They are now allowed to do that. And it will now be up to all of the teams and all of the schools as to what they want to do. The Dolphins immediately reacted and said that in the short term here, they're keeping it at 25%. And the Buccaneers will probably do the same thing for the Green Bay Packer game, which is the next home game in 11 days, even though that's a huge one. And then take this as it goes along here over the course of the next 6 Buccaneer home games, or 5, I think, after the Green Bay game, because you do have a Kansas City Patrick Mahomes game. You do have a Monday night game with the LA Rams that will be at home for the Buccaneers. Sure, that if it is reasonable and safe, the phrases that I keep using and have used with you guys for 6 months, if it's reasonable and safe enough to do this, then of course they want more. But I think on a case-by-case basis, these teams are going to evaluate what's reasonable and what's safe. So for right now, he made that announcement, but it doesn't mean there's suddenly going to be 60, 70, 80,000 at these games just yet.
Well, what does that mean for the Super Bowl that will be in your stadium in Tampa?
Right. And that's February, which seems like it's on the moon, but it will be here soon enough. And so what he's basically saying for right now, election pending, by the way. Now, He's still going to be the governor because he was elected 2 years ago. But for right now, that is saying to the NFL, if you want to have a full stadium, you can have a full stadium come February. That's still to be sorted out, though. We'll see.
That really is interesting. And there's a lot of interesting stories that go with the NFL today and COVID and hurricanes, and the Monday night game may have to be moved to a neutral. But what are you making about what's going on with the Tennessee Titans? And nobody knows for sure exactly what Roger Goodell might do, but it seems pretty apparent now that against protocol, when they were told no gatherings, no practice, that a number of the Titans, including their quarterback Ryan Tannehill, had a practice at Montgomery Bell Academy, the private school in Nashville, and they're caught. They're busted. There's pictures of it. And if that game with Buffalo can't go on this week, the specter is there that you could have what I would think, and I've been trying to go through my head with this, the first forfeiture of a major league team that I can remember. Tell me whenever there was a forfeiture in Major League Baseball or anybody else.
Stats is better at this off the cuff than I am, but I don't know of another one. I don't know that it will rise to this, but at what point do you drop the hammer here when you're totally messing with the opponent and the overall schedule by doing this?
Right.
And
right. TJ, I thought the Cardinals should have had the hammer dropped in baseball. So sure, in this.
Yeah, and in this case, there were already problems with the contact tracing, which they had not been doing properly, and that's what allowed the spread to continue. But now, even worse, if you come to find out that they were having in-person groups together and practicing when they were specifically ordered not to, let's see what the NFL will elect to do. I know the Bills right now are agitated. That's maybe putting it mildly, because they don't know, are we playing? Are we not playing? The Titans can't even open their facility probably until Friday, best case scenario. So what are they going to do? And does Goodell maybe send a loud and clear message right now that you better adhere to this stuff? I know they put together an entirely new threatening memo to all of the teams and went over it with them on Monday about increased testing, increased protocols, and all of this. And that was before this news came out about Tennessee holding an impromptu practice away from their facility. So I don't know what they're going to do, but we live in a bizarre time right now. I mean, you mentioned the hurricane threatening college games and moving college games. The Saints are to play on Monday night. We've got the coronavirus cancellation of the games, of the Titans game last week, maybe the Bills game this week. So it is definitely wild in 2020.
Craziest time ever. No doubt about that. And the NFL is first time I can recall in a long time. What a crisis they face now on many fronts, from hurricanes to COVID itself to teams just ignoring protocol. I mean, That is not a good look for the National Football League. That is for sure. All right, it's on. You, me, mano y mano, Thursday. Soldier Field. Mills is on the line.
Are you backing? All right, what's the deal? I know you got to go. What's the deal? Are you backing the Rays here against the Yankees? Game 3 tonight, best of 5.
Yeah, go Rays.
Weirdest of places, San Diego. What about my Rays?
We're with you.
Go Rays.
Hey, by the way,
I picked them to be in the series.
I'm always there for you. It's just amazing to me. You've forgotten all of that. The Lightning were bullies. They were goonish. But I knew they were going to win. I picked them to win.
Keep an eye on tonight, by the way, because there's bad blood, and we talked about this before with Aroldis Chapman throwing at the Rays.
Oh, yeah.
And Ron Darling, doing the national call of the game last night, was anticipating they might try to hit Aaron Judge. I don't know that that's who I would hit because he's built like a defensive end. So I don't know that I would hit him. I don't know that they're going to try to hit Stanton after he was posing after that second home run last night. But just keep an eye on that.
They could have hit
shouldn't
Judge.
be the overriding part of this, but it may be part of the subplot.
They could have hit Judge last night. They didn't go. They didn't do that. They don't like each other, but that's they're okay. It's all going to work out. It's a good series. It's going to be a great series. I think the Rays will end up winning it. I really do.
Well, we'll see. It's a weird time. Again, they're slated to play, if necessary, 5 nights in a row, which is crazy in the divisional round here for all these different series. So let's see what happens. And of course, that means we already know this for Game 4 tomorrow night, Rays and Yankees. It's going on at the same time as Buccaneers-Bears in this market. We got a lot going on, that's for sure.
Last thing, you can answer this in 10 seconds. Who has better TV ratings, Rays or Bucks?
It might be close, but Buccaneers ratings have been massive. But it might be close. It's a playoff game with the Yankees. So I'll cop out and say 50-50. Split screens everywhere.
I say the Bucks win big. We'll see. Thank you much. We appreciate it. That's our friend TJ Reeves down in Tampa. We take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we'll have a lot of fun sort of putting a bow on this one. I'll let you know our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. And, of course, that's where you get the Genesis. The Genesis is the luxury car of Hyundais, and it is absolute luxury. Take my word for it or don't. Go see it. That's what I'm going to tell you. I advise. Get on Lamar, go into Mississippi, exit 1 Craft Road, the first one on Highway 78. It's Highway 78 once you get past State Line Road. And these cars have so much technology in them. It's mind-boggling. You can't run into another lane. You can actually get out of your car and park it with Smart Park in the Sonata. Safety in these cars, Hyundai tied for the most number of top safety pick vehicles in 2020. And now the 2021s have arrived. They've arrived, and when you get a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai or Genesis of Olive Branch, you get a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on every new car. Even the Hyundai certified pre-owns get up to 100,000 miles of a warranty. And every new car gets a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. That's every new Hyundai and every new Genesis. They've set the standard for the way car business should be done. You just got to go find out and see for yourself. Please go see my friends, Chris True and all the gang, Hyundai in Olive Branch. Back in just a minute. Apparently, there has been a forfeiture in the NFL. We'll tell you when and where when we return.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back in. Wallow, Stats, Sports Time. Drew Barrett, our producer, with you, and Drew has been digging. He says he's found the one forfeiture that has happened in the National Football League. How far did you have to go back?
Had to go pretty far. Take a guess. Any guesses on the year?
I'm just going to say
1929.
I was going to say 1937. I know it has to be a long time ago. Before
it's got to be war or depression or
something
pestilence
crazy.
or something.
What is it?
Actually, it's all over an argument of the field condition back on December 4th of 1921, the second season of the young NFL. The Rochester Jeffersons had to forfeit the game against the Washington Pros/Senators, depending on which newspaper you were writing. Apparently, the two teams had a contract going into the game that the visitors that had a clause that if both teams have arrived on the field of play and it found that the field is too wet to play, the question of cancellation shall rest solely with the manager of the home team. The Washington was the home team. They showed up to play. Rochester Jeffersons were there, refused to take the field. So the referee, after 40 minutes of argument between the two head coaches/managers, decided to call the game for Washington 1-0.
Wow.
1-0. Walk-off home run, huh?
I really, first of all, in those days, 1921, you
tell us about it, Dave. I know you knew.
Well,
you were just a little fella in 21, weren't you?
College football ruled the day, and then when college football was over, all those players went and they got into their professions, and only crazy amateurs.
Baseball ruled the world then.
Played pro ball. Nobody was playing pro football in 1921. That was really a great athlete. It was
You want to know the best part of what you're saying? That college football ruled the world.
Papa Bear was still playing for the Yankees.
Washington Post article posted the next day.
What did they say?
As manager Johnson had his Washington team on hand and felt that he should not disappoint the 400 or so faithful fans who are on hand.
400. Yeah.
Well, that's about how many we have at games now.
No. Come on. We're going to have 12,000 next week. You had how many? Didn't you guys have 20,000 at Ole Miss? For that,
there are
for that
NFL
first
games
game?
that hadn't had 400 at them yet.
Oh, no, you're right. I forgot about nobody at those games. Titans have 0 at their games. Well, they don't have games right now because of their dilemma. I really was racking my head. So we found one forfeiture there. Has there ever been a forfeiture in the NBA? Has there been a forfeiture in the NHL? Has there been a forfeiture in MLB?
I haven't been able to fully research.
Don't move the bar on him, Dave.
No, it's
he's
fine.
Done all that, and he's trying to produce.
I've got a couple hours. I could probably fit it in there. I have a little bit of research on MLB. I haven't done the full story and know why. I did see a clipping that the last forfeiture was in 1977.
I'm just saying to you, in my mind, in my memory, I don't remember a major league of any kind with a forfeiture. And you got to go back to 1921 when the NFL was a fledgling league. The closest I can recall of any kind of forfeiture at any kind of major level was Tim McCarver Stadium. I don't remember the year, but the Royals were playing an exhibition game. And
I think it was Marlins.
It was the Marlins. I think that's who they were playing. Right, exactly.
And David Hirsch, the despicable human that he was and is, let all that happen.
Well, the field was just not playable.
But he knew that before he sold all the tickets and had everybody sitting there and selling them hot dogs and hamburgers.
He thought he could get it ready, and he didn't. And then the worst thing he did, honestly, that day was to go to the mound with a microphone and tell everybody he would not going to refund them except give them tickets to Chicks games. And that did not sit well because they were paying to see a major league
he was
exhibition
heckled unmercifully and should have been.
And then he ended up having to give them all their money back anyway. So
I did find a forfeiture in Major League Baseball, and I've got the story from the New York Times pulled up.
Where? When?
1977, September 14th, I believe was the day Baltimore Orioles forfeited a game in the 5th inning against the Toronto Blue Jays because Earl Weaver was so upset and tempered over the left field bullpen mound that they would not put a tarp on it to protect the players from steady rain during the day.
I know another one. I just remembered.
Disco night.
Disco night at Comiskey Park with a Chicago DJ had people throw records onto the field. There were so many that the umpires, it might have been between doubleheaders, and the White Sox
and it was the death of disco. That was it.
They had a forfeit.
Wasn't there a riot too?
They had a forfeit. Yeah, well, they made him forfeit the game, and all the people got mad, and the DJ was, egging them on. That was crazy. Steve Dahl, that was the guy's
Everybody
name.
drunk
That was
and
the disc jockey's name was Steve Dahl. He was a big guy in Chicago. He was really funny, excellent talent. But he went over the line, and so did they. There was a forfeiture. How about that? All right, that's an hour in the books. When we come back, we'll talk SEC football and a whole lot more. Our friend Barrett Jones, he comes your way in just 1 minute.
Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta. Snow crab, king crab, dungeons and more. Fish platter, $9.99. Lobster tail, $10.99. Jumbo wings, 99 cents each. Download the app or search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at crabkingstn.com. Crab Kings Seafood and Pasta, Memphis favorites. Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta. Snow crab, king crab, dungeons and more. Fish platter, $9.99. Lobster tail, $10.99. Jumbo wings, 99 cents each. Download the app or search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at CrabKingsTN.com. Crab Kings Seafood and Pasta, Memphis' favorite.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, traffic has been crazy lately, right? And rush hour? Forget it. Nobody wants to let you merge onto the highway. But hey, somebody let you merge or you wouldn't be there, so drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Have you thought about the holidays yet? Our friends at Window Genie not only clean windows, gutters, and concrete, they also hang holiday lights. Window Genie has a Christmas light rental program that includes custom design, installation, maintenance, takedown, and storage for your home or office. The best part, they're offering 15% off if you book by November 1st. Spend more time with friends and family this year and less time on the ladder. Call today for a free estimate, 901-424-4100. Window Genie, 901-424-4100.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in hour number 2. Good to have you on a beautiful, beautiful day here. Hope it stays beautiful, but the weather is threatening. We've told you the big story, a lot of discussion about the NFL with the new COVID findings in the NFL and possible movement because of the hurricane. And now we're also getting word, at least a texter on the First Bank text line at 67129 has said the LSU game is being moved from Baton Rouge to Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, official early today.
Wow. So that is wild. And we understand also from the same texter who nailed that Ole Miss is considering 3 options based on that storm: Friday, Sunday, or postponed until later in the year. And they're going to make a decision tomorrow. Could still be Saturday, too, for that matter. What are you hearing on that?
Nothing.
Anything new? Okay. I'll tell you who might know. We love chatting every Wednesday. This time slot with the man who does the big college football games on ESPN Radio. He's doing some NFL games, too, this year. Former Alabama All-American and ECS star, that would be Barrett Jones, who joins us now. Good afternoon. How are you? Are you at all going to be affected by all this weather?
What's up, guys? The answer is I'm learning all this as you are. So I don't know. There's rumors, and I've heard the same things y'all have heard. I am scheduled this weekend to call the Alabama Ole Miss game, and so presumably if the Alabama Ole Miss game does not happen, then I would imagine that, yes, indeed, I would probably call either a different game or that game on a different day, or, I don't know. I think the key to this year for everyone is flexibility, and that, again, is proven to be true.
Barrett, I have heard that Coach Saban, and naturally I understand why, and even Ole Miss as well, that everybody's opposed to Monday afternoon. That would make for a very short week for Alabama getting ready for Georgia. I have heard that Coach Kirby's smart, and I understand why. He's very opposed to a Friday afternoon game because then that gives Alabama an extra day to get ready for the Georgia Bulldogs the next week. Everybody's scared of trying it on Sunday and facing the monster, the monolith that's the NFL. I think it would be a good case study, Barrett, just to see. Might get our heads torn off in the ratings. It could be so ugly you would know to never try it again. But why not this? Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock, SEC Network. I hope you guys could carry it on ESPN Radio with you and Sean as well. But put it on against the NFL with that brand of Alabama, and it's a good case study. You're not burning inventory of Bama versus LSU or Bama versus Georgia or Tennessee. Do it against Ole Miss, good case study, and just see if you can ever go near the water and put a toe in taking on the NFL.
Well, Brad, I think I agree. I think it would be very interesting. I will say the people that make these decisions probably are a little less concerned with case studies and a little more concerned with making money in the now, maybe than you are. But I think it would be interesting. But they also have bosses and shareholders that are they're responsible to, unlike me and you.
I think if it was on the SEC network, I think you'd have so much against you. You would do fine in the states of Mississippi and Alabama, and maybe some in Tennessee, and maybe a little bit even in Arkansas. But the truth is, the carriage of the SEC network would be limited. And
cable against network, I understand that. But let's see. Let's just try it one time and see.
It would get careened nationally, I think. And I agree with Barrett. I think if you're ESPN,
I do too.
You're giving up a Saturday full of revenue up against yourself in a lot of markets, because let's face it.
One time, try it and see. And as I said, I was clear. If you just get slaughtered, to never go near it again. But if you don't, why so much deference for the Shield?
Well, here's the reason. ESPN carries, and so this would be the dilemma that they would have with Barrett. They carry a lot of shows around NFL games. All those, we go from market to market to market that so many of us grew up stringing for. And they have a lot of affiliates that carry those things that you'd have to interrupt that programming or change programming. And that would be the dilemma they would have. Are they going to cancel what they already have committed? I doubt it.
All great points. I think this is there's TV questions are always very complicated and figuring out. This one of the greatest mysteries is how it's 2020, and when they have to move a big golf tournament up due to weather, that we're still expected to watch it recorded. There's just all kind of unwritten rules in TV, but you know what? As we're seeing in baseball, unwritten rules are made to be broken. So who
they
knows?
Are.
Nothing's for sure. And look, the other reality, like this is only a TV nerd really would enjoy this discussion, but here I go anyway. Is the other reality that all these cable networks are up against, that they really know deep in the back of their heads, is that their biggest threats, honestly, are probably not each other, and that's what they all talk about at their meetings. Is their biggest threats probably are these big tech companies, like the Amazons, like the Googles, the Apples. Is that I think that's probably the thing that keeps them up at night. Is that one day, all those guys with the billions and billions of dollars on their balance sheets are going to back up that truck and just say, you know what, I think I want to buy the NFL rights. And so anyway, that's a whole different discussion. But I think it's something that just kind of lurks in the back of their mind, and I think because of it, they've tried to be a little more flexible.
Well, you're right about one thing. The way we get our programming continually changes, and streaming now opens it up for everything. We had a guy who does a great job for Yahoo Sports down in the bubble, Keith Smith. He's on with us every week to talk about the NBA. But he was talking about if the NBA were to change their season and go into the summer, they would be up against all of these cable networks that have NBA games and Major League Baseball games. And we have that same thing with the Grizzlies on Fox Sports South or Fox Sports Tennessee. That's the Cardinals, or it could be the Braves. And so what would you do? But the way we are getting so much of our technology through streaming now, sooner or later, that's how we'll get everything.
It does seem like that. So, who knows? Who knows how it'll work and how it'll all go down. But, I just hope I keep a job during the whole thing. That's what I'm worried about.
Barrett,
so.
I'll
call whatever game they tell me to call, guys. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. 11 years ago, you were on the field when Lane Kiffin brought his one and only Tennessee team to Tuscaloosa and stood for a lot of that game toe-to-toe with Alabama. Thank goodness for Mount Cody at the end. And he has remarked this week what a vast difference in styles, both the game itself that it is today and what Coach Saban's team that you were a part of that year in 2009, that how different it is 11 years later.
Well, you're right. I think it's changed drastically on both sides of the football, really, when you really examine it and you look at it. And it's very interesting to watch some of the changes that have been made. Defensively, I think, obviously, you got guys that are much lighter. You don't have those same 270-pound linebackers that you had back then. defensively. And, obviously now, back then, you played a lot of sets where you had, either 4 D linemen and 3 linebackers, or 3 D linemen and 4 big linebackers. And now you spend the vast majority of your time in nickel in almost every game, where you only have, 4 down guys and 2 linebackers and 5 DBs in the field. And so just from a personnel standpoint, it's so different. Then you look at the offensive side of the ball. I mean, the way that things have changed with RPOs. And, the reality is you really can never compare. It's a very apples to oranges when you try to compare 2 teams from different eras, because the styles are so different and the way that those teams are built. It makes that comparison very tough. So, I think some of that whole, I heard Lane talking this week, and, look, it's a little coach speak. He's like, oh, these guys are so much better, than when I was there. And they're so great and they're all so good, So you got to read through a little bit of that stuff. But he is right that things have changed a lot in the last few years.
I agree. You can never compare eras in a fair way, because the game evolves. And as you just said, when was the last time we talked about weights going down, strength going down? And that's what's happened in the game, because offense is spread out, which is, a neat concept in its own right. It's fun to watch the evolution of a game, but makes it very difficult to compare. I wonder if you, as you've started your homework on Alabama and Ole Miss, if they do play Saturday and it's raining all the time, does that favor any team over the other?
Yeah, good question. I've thought about that a little bit this week, and look, this is not rocket science here, but it's got to favor Alabama a little bit, just because of the quality of the players they have in the trenches. I know they throw the ball, primarily and very well this year also, but they still have Najee Harris and a really good offensive line. So, anytime it's raining like that, especially if you're talking torrential downpour, it's going to favor the team that's able to run the football better. And so I do think that even though Alabama hasn't run it great this year, they still have some really talented personnel. And if that was their game plan going in, they have the people to do it.
Barrett, Tennessee, and Georgia, and it's getting time for the Tennessee faithful for them to win one of these games. 8-game winning streak. It's not against the juggernauts, but it is stopped the slide. Jeremy Pruitt has stopped that. Now he has to graduate into beating one of the rivals, Georgia, Florida, or Tennessee. Georgia this week for the Big Orange.
Well, there's no doubt. Look, it just Tennessee is kind of like a kettle right now that just they want to explode, like they want to be able to just fully come out and believe that they're ready to take the next step. They haven't quite gotten that quality win. Look, they've beaten some good teams, but they haven't really taken that next step into the next stratosphere. And to do that, you got to beat one of the best teams, and this is an opportunity for them to do that. Obviously, I do think they'll get there eventually. Look, I like Tennessee. I think what they're building over there is going to be eventually something special. I just still have questions, as I'm sure probably Jeremy Pruitt does privately, that they're going to be able to do it under Jarrett Garantano. Look, I don't think they want to play him necessarily. They probably would like to start one of the younger guys. I just think with COVID and everything, they're probably not ready. And so he gives them the best chance to win. But just the way they have to call plays with him, the way that they have to kind of force him. And look, he's making better decisions. He's played a little bit better this year. I just am not sure that with him, they're ever going to be able to take that next step and explode through and beat a team, like an Alabama, like a Georgia, like a Florida.
Another intriguing game on Saturday will be Mississippi State at Kentucky. Kentucky, which was a darling as the year began, has struggled. And State, who can figure State out with the great win at Baton Rouge, and then, allowing Arkansas to snap a 3-year conference losing streak. Brilliant move by Barry Odom to move 8 in the defensive backfield and take away all those crossing patterns. But you would have thought Mississippi State would have figured something out against Arkansas, and that became a great story. How do you view that game?
Yeah, that's a great question. You hit on a lot of the highlights right there. Mississippi State was very much a tale of two games, where game one against LSU, they looked like they were going to be, the breakout team of the year. And, like we might be seeing Mike Leach's name in the Coach of the Year conversations. And then game two, they lost to Arkansas. So that is literally the can you get any more two sides of the spectrum than beating the reigning national champion and then go into losing to a team that hasn't won an SEC game since 2017? So I have no clue what to expect. Look, obviously they lost Kylan Hill in that game, and when they don't have Kylan Hill on the field, they're a whole different team. But it was honestly, it was genius. Like you said, by Barry Odom, we're going to put 3 guys in the box. The amazing thing, or the frustrating thing, depending on which side you were on, is that they were still able to stop the run, with 3 down linemen the whole game. And so Mississippi State, if they're going to play that way, if teams just sit back and dare them to run the football, they've got to just be willing to commit to it and do it over and over and over. And I think that is, and look, it's been 2 games, so I'm not making any snap judgments. But when Mike Leach came over, that was one of the big differences that I was thinking about. Was that I have always said the biggest difference between the SEC and other conferences are the D linemen, in my opinion. You have just a whole different class of athlete playing defensive line. And so if you have defensive linemen that are able to get pressure on the quarterback, that are able to stop the run, with only 3 guys up there, only 4 or 5 in the box, that's a game changer. And you have to have other plans. When that happens, you have to have ways to deal with that. And that obviously was not something that Mike Leach and that offense were ready for.
Barrett, you're right. And I hadn't thought about it all week. That quite a contrast in the state year. Beat the top of the sport and probably the bottom, for sure the bottom of the league. Lose to the bottom of the league the very next week. We're talking college football with Barrett Jones, outstanding lineman at Alabama, Outland Trophy winner, and also now on ESPN Radio with Sean Kelly each and every week doing college football. Barrett, I was talking. You won the William Campbell Award. That's the Heisman of academics, right?
I guess so, Brett. If you say it, then I probably did. I guess so.
Yeah, but you won that award from the College Football Foundation.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we were talking about it last week when Brady White was nominated, and I said we've got a winner in our midst right here. All right, Auburn on the field. It's the same roller coaster for Gus. Hot seat, then off of it. Hot seat, then off of it. A loss to Arkansas would firmly put him on a hot seat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be a very, very warm seat. It would, even though it would be just like Gus to lose to Arkansas and then probably find a way to beat Alabama, at the end of the year and get an extension. So that's kind of been his pattern. Is every time he's been on the really, really hot seat, he's been able to beat Alabama, and he's got an extension. So look, it's definitely going to be a roller coaster ride. I mean, they've got to get better in a lot of areas. I mean, defensive line was a major strength for them last year. Obviously, you expected a little bit of a drop-off, but it's been a huge drop-off. And offensive line hasn't been very good. Look, Bo Nix has also got to take a big step forward. He hasn't done that yet through 2 games. He played okay in the first game, didn't play well last week against a good defense. But he's going to have to be dynamic this year if they want to win games, because the running game is not going to be there like it has traditionally to carry the football team. So, I think that it'll be interesting to see which Auburn team shows up, but they're going to have to get a lot better. And look, Georgia's got a great defense and really a great front seven, and so they can make a lot of people look bad. So I'm never going to overreact either one way or the other quite too much. But Auburn's got to show me a lot this week. And look, I expect them to be Arkansas. But if they want to be able to compete the rest of the year and push for the SEC West title, which I think that's still the goal down there, then they're going to have to get a lot better before they play the likes of Alabama and the meat of their schedule.
What do you think the goal is for A&M now? I mean, they look terrible against Vandy. Of course, Alabama crushed them. Now they're at home, but they've got Florida. They're the underdog in this game. What do you make of Jimbo Fisher's team?
Oh, man, it is. It's been brutal. Look, I was one that 2 years ago predicted that A&M was going to be a power in the West by this year, and it hadn't happened. Now, look, they had a lot of guys opt out. One of the biggest warning signs to me, and maybe this might just be the individual player, but I just haven't seen Kellen Mond get that much better. I keep waiting for him to take that next step and jump into that next echelon because he's got so much talent, and it just hadn't happened. Now, look, he didn't have a lot of guys around him right now making plays. There's a bunch of young guys, a bunch of youth on that team, again, because of some of those opt-outs, which, by the way, I could talk about that, but I better not. There's a lot of people opting out that I've never even heard of. I don't really I expected some of the guys that were first-round draft picks to opt out, but now I see guys getting some very bad advice in some cases. That's all I'll say. it hasn't worked for whatever reason for Jimbo Fisher. And the other concerning thing is that you just hear kind of rumblings where it just doesn't seem like there's been great team chemistry. And I'm reading kind of through a lot of blurry lines there, but there just hasn't been that belief yet that it can happen. There's always rocky starts usually when new coaches are hired, especially when they inherit tough situations. But then there's kind of that moment where you see them on a trajectory and on a path. And I know A&M's had a tough schedule, but they just haven't had that moment yet where you're like, okay, these guys can compete. These guys can get better and build on something. And look, Jimbo's getting paid a lot of money and has a very long, secure contract, but he better get something worked out pretty quickly because they've been recruiting well down there for the past few years, and we have not seen the results as of yet.
Signature win is definitely lacking. Probably his biggest win was that wild overtime that changed the overtime rules over LSU that most people thought at best kind of fluky, and at worst they kind of stole it with some questionable calls. But that's probably his signature win, and it just hadn't been much else. And that's kind of the neighborhood down there with Tom Herman and his struggles at Texas. He's in as must-win as you can be at Red River Shootout this weekend. But Jimbo Fisher, he's not on a hot seat, but he's trending that way. And as Dave mentioned, a pretty decided underdog at Kyle Field.
Well, there's no doubt, and they should be after the performances they put on the first few weeks. Frankly, I mean, it's Florida's been playing some good football, so yeah, it's there's some teams that need a win. You mentioned Texas. I mean, goodness, it's crazy to me to think about whoever wins the Red River Shootout. Like, they're going to be in serious trouble. Now, obviously, look, I don't think anyone thinks Lincoln Riley's on the hot seat, not even close to the hot seat, no matter what happens this year.
No.
But that has been very disappointing to watch them. They're obviously 1-2 now. Like, either they're going to be 1-3 or Texas, is going to have 2 losses. I mean, the Big 12 is about to play themselves out of the playoff here in October, and the season didn't even start till, late September. So it's pretty wild, the things that have transpired early on for the Big 12. It is not a good recipe for them to find a way to the college football playoff. It has been serious trouble.
I'm still trying to put my head around the LSU Missouri game being moved to Missouri. Why wouldn't they move that somewhere to a neutral? Why would you agree to go to Missouri? I guess are they playing them in that division the following year so they could swap it? I don't quite get why they do that.
I know LSU has not played at Columbia since Mizzou's joined the league, but really, Dave, kind of the footprint for where you would go neutral. I mean, unless you went west, it's all being impacted by the Hurricane Delta.
I guess you couldn't go to New Orleans; it would just be unsafe. But it's inside, right? I mean,
well, if the Monday Night Football can't be played there, I don't know how they can do Saturday afternoon college football.
You're right. I guess they figure that it's just dangerous outside for anybody to.
Greg Sankey's earning his money this year, isn't he?
It's the craziest thing.
Greg Sankey. Again, we talked about it a few weeks ago, but I still don't think he's got enough credit. I mean, he's weathered every storm, pun intended, and he has just made decisions. He's been clear. He's taken his time. He's listened to all the facts, and he hasn't been in a rush to please the mob. And he's just done a great job. It's just what great leadership is all about, is just taking your time, hearing the opinions, and then making a decision and going with it. And so I expect nothing different. Look, he's wrangling a lot of personalities, okay? Like, think about, you mentioned those calls he's getting, Brett. Like, think about, you're right, Kirby, Nick, they're all calling him, complaining, lobbying their case.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he's got to be the guy that makes the decision. So you got to have a powerful guy that's going to do that. But, hey, there's a reason why Greg Sankey's the most powerful man in college football, and that's why.
I think he deserves a tip of the cap for the protocol that they've come up with, and the coaches following that protocol, because at this point we know there have been problems on a lot of different college fronts. There have been none thus far in the SEC, knock on wood. Well, I guess weather's the worst now, right? That's
no doubt. Well, we'll see. There's a lot of time left, guys.
Oh yeah,
so
no doubt.
Just enjoy every week. That's all I'm going to say. Enjoy every week.
That's right.
I'm with you 100% on that. Barrett Jones, thank you so much. I hope you get your game in this weekend, and we shall reconvene next Wednesday. How's that?
We'll get. I can almost guarantee you we'll get some game in. What that game will be, we will see.
And as you said, you're doing it from your house. It doesn't matter. You can
That's right.
be anywhere.
I can.
You may
it should be fun.
You may actually be places you've never been before. You never know.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you, Barrett.
Barrett. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Great job.
Yeah, that is terrific. The thing that comes to my mind on that is years ago I did a indoor soccer all-star game. Actually did it with Kyle Rote Jr. It was in Detroit. And I get a phone call from a guy who was watching a tape replay of that game, and he was in Maui, Hawaii. This is before I'd ever been to Maui. And the guy goes, I'm in Maui. I'm watching you in Maui. And I go, wow. I'm places I've never been before.
Right. And we remember a famous snowstorm hitting Memphis and Chicago almost simultaneously one time, and the Tigers were set to play in DePaul, and the Tiger announce crew had to do it from a Kicks 106 studio, and they really weren't there. They pulled it off as if they were there.
Well,
I think now for spirit of full disclosure, you need to announce it, and I think people would understand that you're not actually there.
I think that it would be much
Especially
more
this
acceptable. There's all these remote broadcasts now, but I'll give you another story on that one, though. When Paul Hartledge, and I believe, was he doing it with Hank McDowell at that time? I think so.
It was.
Yeah,
it was.
So they didn't get to Chicago, but I did.
You couldn't get to the airport in Memphis.
Well, I did, because I went the night before and traveled, not with the team. I might have been sort of with the team, but, in those days we flew commercial. There were no charters.
Yeah, you did get out today early.
Well,
they didn't.
So let me tell you what happened, is that I got there, and I'm doing the game on TV. And, this Chicago, it's a union group. It's Memphis-based, right? But we're doing everything in Chicago. And I didn't have another analyst. And John Albright did not travel with me. John was very disciplined with his business, and so he traveled separately most of the time. He shows up literally 30 seconds before we go on the air. I had already done the open, rehearsed the open by myself. I was going to do the whole thing. And John shows up unshaven. John Albright. Remember John? John is meticulous.
Mr. Perfect.
Mr.
And he
Perfect.
is. He is.
And
in a good way, in a great way.
That was the funniest moment. I almost did a television game by myself. That would have been something.
So he got there with just a little time to spare, like he usually would leave. Man, at the Pyramid, especially when the Tigers would play at the Pyramid, you didn't get in the way of John Albright. When the game was over, It was beeline to the car. He was out of there before the teams had left the court good.
Oh, he had a big business deal in the morning. You can bet he was going to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for that one. This portion of the show brought to you by James Davis. If you want to look good for those kinds of meetings, this is where you go. This is the place with all the great brand names, the Peter Millars, the Stenstrom, the Mac 5 Pocket. Oh, and also this is the place you go to get the Stant Custom Philosophy. This is, it's application is what it is. Stant is a system where you go in for shirts, you take 3 measurements, they feed it into a computer. There's an algorithm that comes out with the most perfect fitting custom shirt within a week for $98. And now they're doing that with pants for $168. Couple of measurements and the perfect fitting pants for length, for fitting in the waist, in the behind, and on your legs. It's uncanny. This system is amazing. It's revolutionary. And the only place that you can find the Stant system in Memphis is James Davis Men's. The only place you can get the greatest luggage in, I think, America is Toomey. Where can you find that? James Davis Men's. These are exclusive places. These are exclusive things only found at James Davis. Very simple. If you want the latest in fashion for men, there's one place to shop in this town. It's the Laurelwood Shopping Center. It is James Davis Men's Store. We take the time out. When we come back, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is a great little publication called The Blitz, and the guy who is the publisher, Jim Gum, is going to join us for the first time ever on Sports Time. He comes your way in just a minute.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour
a new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
If ever there was a time for comfort food, this is it. And there's no comfort food like Sunrise on Jefferson. Fresh-made breakfast featuring Sunrise's signature homemade square biscuits or the huge selection of hot, fresh, and fast lunch items are all part of what has always made Sunrise the most comforting of comfort foods in Memphis. Of course, everything that can be done to keep you and the staff safe at Sunrise is a top priority. And you can always order ahead and get delicious Sunrise to go. At a time this confusing, it's good to know there's one thing you can count on: Sunrise.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Try Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill for a fast-acting relief of
Honey Lemon.
Not to mention a soothing chill. So remember, Vicks VapoCool Drops are
Honey Lemon.
and
Honey Lemon. Honey Lemon.
yeah, Honey Lemon Chill. Get fast-acting relief with Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill. Use as directed.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. This is a guy I've been talking about trying to get on forever. The owner of the Redbirds in 901 FC is Peter Freund. And when he first bought the teams, I think I had him on one time. He's really an interesting guy. Well, today 901 and the Redbirds jointly announced here that Peter Freund has been asked and is joining the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball to help guide the transition of minor league baseball over the next year. Pretty big honor, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a very big honor. He owns teams at every level, and next year, minor league baseball. I don't know if they'll even call it AAA, AA, and A. I don't know what it might be designated something different, but real changes afoot in minor league baseball, and it's good that Peter Freund's involved because we know the Cardinals' agreement with the Redbirds and with AutoZone Park, it extends way past this year and into the future, but still want the Cardinals to, whatever it to be, we want Memphis designated as the top rung minor league team, so that helps with Peter Freund being involved. Our next guest we're getting ready to have on, college football lover extraordinaire, member of the Football Writers Association of America, and he is the owner and publisher of a must-read for any college football fan. You can walk through any press box and see copies of it everywhere, broadcasters everywhere. It's all but a necessity for them to start a broadcast with. Jim Gum joins us now. Jim is on Twitter at Jim Gum, G-U-M-M. He is based in Cleveland, Tennessee. And Jim Gum, we forever have loved your publication, and we are so honored to have you on. Good afternoon, Jim.
Well, fellas, I really appreciate you guys allowing me to spend some time with you. I love college football. But before we get talking about football, I have to say this. We're right outside of Chattanooga, and you were talking about minor league baseball. The Chattanooga Lookouts are on the verge of being dropped. And boy, it's a real sore subject here in this area about the possibility of the Chattanooga Lookouts going away, because there were some
I bet.
minor league teams on the chopping block, and Chattanooga was one of those ones on the chopping block. So it's a real sore spot here in Chattanooga.
It's a lot of places.
Yeah, it's if you talk about it, minor league baseball has been Americana. It really has, and where I grew up in Chicago, you'd go down to like Springfield, Illinois, just to see what that sort of was like when I was in high school. I wanted to see what was minor league baseball like, and it was a whole different experience.
Yeah,
and
it brought the major leagues to Smallville, and Jim, and growing up where I did, coming to Memphis to games, going to Little Rock to Ray Winder Field to see the Travelers. This year, the thing that has hit me the most, that I have missed the most from the pandemic, was and I go to a bunch of them, going to AutoZone Park to see the Redbirds. So we're with you. We can tell you love baseball, and we know you love college football. Jim, your publication, and you're going to give away a subscription. Drew, we'll call it the third caller. You take them off there at 360-8255. You're going to give away a subscription. You're online at theblitzsports.com, and you're on Twitter, but it's still one of the go-to publications. Tell our listeners about it and how it started and how you compile all this great info in a very concise manner every week.
Well, I've been doing this for a long time. I was the sports editor of a similar publication years ago. It was called The Kickoff, and I founded the Blitz 10 years ago. So this is the 10th anniversary of the Blitz, and it's basically like The Kickoff except on steroids. It's 8 pages every week instead of 4 like the Kickoff was. And I have a mathematical formula that I use, and there's a little tweaking that goes on for different variances of power ratings. When you look at it, I give it each week. I put it on one page every game that's going to be played, and I compare the power ratings, and I put a little symbol next to the team that's favored, if you will, based on the power ratings. Now, this is not point spreads, and home field advantage is not considered, but it's just strictly power ratings. It's kind of like if you ever look at USA Today, Jeff Sagarin, he has mathematical power ratings. Well, this is the same thing as that. A little different than what he does it. I've talked to him before. I know how he does his, and I do mine just a little bit different, but it's very similar. But it's a power ratings, and if anyone's out there that likes to play the games, if you will, on the weekends, this is just a tool to help you make some educated decisions. But it's a labor of love. I put a lot of other information in there. I put the schedules, a lot of football tidbits. Every week I have a game of the week. This week it happens to be the Miami Clemson game. But just chock full of information, and it's so funny. I've got some really interesting customers of mine. The Green Bay Packers are one of my customers. They send this to every head coach in America. I've got several bowl games that do this, but I've got just regular subscribers, like you say. So it's really something that the average fan, if you're a college football fan and you like to follow the sport on a national basis, then the Blitz is your publication.
Funny, I remember the Kickoff, and I
do too. Well,
I wondered whatever happened to that, and then I did come across the Blitz in a press box, and I thought it was terrific. And at the Kickoff, didn't they used to do all the schedules the way you have in the Blitz?
Yeah, the thing I do different in the Blitz is I actually put those schedules by conference. So if you want to look at all your SEC games, they're all put together one behind the other. There's 14 all together. Same way with all the other leagues. The Kickoff, and I don't know if they still do this or not, but they just put it in alphabetical order. But I thought it was a little bit more interesting if you put them all by conference, and that way, because people tend to want to look at what their rivals are up to and who they're playing this week, and if they're all in one place, it makes it a little easier. So that's one thing that I did do different, and also I made the font a little bit bigger, just so people with older people with their eyes aren't as good. They don't have to put on a magnifying glass to see it. Most people can see this pretty easily.
And you always have a game of the week on the front page. And this year, you've had the college football stadium of the week. This year, Venerable Memorial Stadium at Oklahoma used to be Owen Field. One of these weeks, come on, Jim, give the Liberty Bowl some love. Give
Hey,
Liberty
man,
Bowl
listen,
Stadium some love.
The Liberty Bowl. To me, whenever I looked at the Liberty Bowl, when I looked at the Liberty Bowl, it used to remind me of old Tampa Stadium where the Bucks used to play, the Buccaneers. It was like a basically the same type of architectural. But I've been to a game there. I have been to a game at. My brother used to live there in Memphis, so him and I went to a couple Tiger games there. So it's a really really cool place. I like it.
The Liberty Bowl was actually built before the one in Tampa, and it was the same exact architects. And what they did was, if you go to the Liberty Bowl, you have the one side that is not as high as the other, and they equaled those in Tampa. So exactly the same stadium. And I will tell you this, I've been to a lot of stadiums, and I'm not sure that even these new stadiums that are built just for football have better sightlines than the Liberty Bowl. Liberty Bowl sightlines.
Well, there's not. I don't believe there's any obstructed views there.
No, none.
You know, and that's to me
architectural
that's
marvel. Yeah. It really was, Jim. However they engineered and laid that out, it should be the model. Another page this week, you always have a bragging rights, the OU Texas rivalry. Hard to believe that game. I went 4 years ago in the season of 2016. I always wanted to go. Ole Miss had open date. I went, and it was great. The State Fair this year, it's going to be fanless. State Fair and the venerable Cotton Bowl Stadium. But OU and Texas, they've been going at it since 1900.
You know, that's the one thing about college football, guys, is the traditions. And I love, there's nothing wrong with the modern game and, the spread offense, but there's certain traditions out there like Texas, Oklahoma, early October at the State Fair, at the Cotton Bowl. There was talk about moving that thing to AT&T Stadium, but they've signed a long contract to stay there at the Cotton Bowl and play around the Texas State Fair there, which I love that they could play in a very, very nice stadium. Instead, they're staying at the old venerable Cotton Bowl. So I just love the tradition of that.
When did they move it to coincide with the State Fair? Was that like in the 20s or 30s?
It's as long as I know that it's always been while the State Fair is going on, the Texas OU game is played during that time.
29. Since 1929, it hadn't missed a year in Dallas. I don't know if that was always coinciding with the date with the State Fair, but on this page in the Blitz, Jim's publication, it has every game listed.
Yeah, I would guess that probably it coincided with the Texas State Fair. Yeah.
So when you
man, I can tell you, and Dave, you went to that game when you worked down there, didn't you?
I went to 1 year, 1985. Yeah.
And it's a contact sport when you get out there. It's very early in the day. And the State Fair is going on. You got to buy, tickets for it and for everything and, to ride the gondola. And it's like a medieval feast. Everybody's eating on something. By the end of the day, between sweat and what I was eating and people around me, man, I was a mess by the end of the day, but it was a fun mess. It's a great scene.
It is.
What's so cool is when you look at the stadium from an aerial perspective, you got 50-50. One half of the stadium burnt orange and the other half in crimson. And it just makes for a great view from the air. So it's like I said, it's one of the great traditions in all of sport.
It is. So you do a top 30 every week, and I've glanced at your latest here, and
difficult to do it right now because the Big Ten and the Pac-12 haven't started yet. So it makes it difficult. I am including them. The unfortunate thing is, as the weeks go on, and as when the Big Ten and Pac-12 aren't playing, their teams are going to slide down because it's just a natural progression. Teams that win, their power rating increases, and so it makes it difficult. But at the end of the year, I think it's going to be to where we can have at least a close. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect. I think it's going to be pretty close as far as the accuracy of the most talented teams and the best teams being ranked in the top 30. But there again, with different teams playing different number of games, it is going to be a challenge for me this year.
Well, I was just curious. You have Ohio State 3, Penn State 5, Oregon 6, and they haven't played. So how do you have a figure, a formula for teams that have not played?
Well, I have a preseason power rating for every team. So like Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, they all had a preseason power rating. In my preseason power rating, Ohio State was number one. and they have their power rating is exactly the same as it was when it started. So that's the way it happens. Is that the power ratings are, and that's the most inaccurate thing that I do is the preseason power ratings, because it's all a bunch. There's a lot of guesswork that goes on at that point. I'm going to be totally transparent. Now, by the time you get mid-season, I feel a lot better about the power ratings than I do first of the year, because there again, you're basing it on a lot of, I guess, projections, and so that's the way that all works. And there again, you've got teams that are haven't played a game, and they're being mixed in with the teams that have. And a lot of people disagree with that, and I get it, but that I'm not going. I just refuse to not include these teams, and they are going to take a hit for the next couple 2-3 weeks until they start playing, because they will continue to slide down. But like I said, hopefully by the time the end of the year comes around, they'll have enough to we'll have enough games played by everybody to have a justifiable top 30 at that point.
You've got a special offer for our listeners. We want you to get that in. And also, I love it. It's not in this week's publication, but often you'll have kind of 15 years ago, 20 years ago, what was going on around in sports then, a Masters winner or a Kentucky Derby winner or an Indianapolis 500 winner.
It's in this week's issue
on
page 7. Page 7.
I'm sorry, Jim.
It's on the same page with all the standings.
I see it now. I'm very sorry. I love that's probably my favorite tidbit when I see it. And this week you go back to all the champs in 2000, the 2000 Heisman Trophy balloting. Oh, I love it. Tell our listeners how they can find out more from you and get a free copy of the Blitz.
Here. This is for anyone that's listening to your program today. If anyone emails me, and I'll give you my email address, Jim Gumm, and that's spelled Gumm, .blitz, BLITZ, @yahoo.com. If you email me and say that you heard me on your program, I will give you the Blitz for the rest of the year at no charge, for free. That way you can see how it's like. This is for anyone that's listening to your program right now. So, in fact, even when I get off the air, if you want to just tell some guys, tell the people out there the email address, all they have to do is just email me, and they'll get the Blitz for free for the rest of the year. And like you said, this is a publication that a lot of professionals use, and I'm very blessed to have been doing this for as long as I have. So I think it's a quality publication, and most people really enjoy it.
We know so.
Last thing for Jim Gumm, since you're a historian here, and I'm using your own tidbit. But you said, and I've heard this a bunch because now everybody's picked up on it, Nick Saban is 20-0 at Alabama against his former assistants, including 4-0 against Jimbo Fisher. 18 of those 20 wins have been by double digits. Is there any other coach that you can think of that had a tree that they were perfect against their students?
Not perfect. I know there's a bunch of coaches that had really good records against their coaching tree, but I don't know anyone that's perfect like he is. And it's not only that, like you said, he wears them out. He wears them out, and it's just unbelievable. Listen, that program there in Tuscaloosa is something to behold. Right now, in my opinion, there are 3 programs in college football, guys, that are just head and shoulders on a consistent basis, and that's Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson. Right now, those are the 3 big guys. Georgia's knocking on the door, and you got others that are knocking on the door, but those 3 have dominated the last 5 to 10 years. It's been a pretty remarkable run for those 3 programs. It'd be nice to see some new blood up there, to be honest with those guys.
No doubt. Hey, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. We'll do this again some other time. We'll let everybody know, by the way, you want the Blitz, which is a fabulous little college football publication. Just email Jim, Gumm.blitz, BLITZ, @yahoo.com, and he'll give you this thing for the rest of the year, and it is worth it. Jim, been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Jim Gumm. And it is, as I say, I'm not making it up. We try to refer to it as often as we can see it because the tidbits are really good. And having all those schedules in one place instead of having to go throughout the internet looking for stuff, it's really, really easy. This portion of the show is brought to you by Supercuts. Supercuts, the Czech family, came 30 years ago. 30 years ago they came. They opened up the first Supercuts. Now there's 15 of those. And they do such a good job of taking care of this community. But nothing's more important than the health of the community and, of course, their team, their workers. And all the Memphis area Supercuts now are open. They've been open for a while. They're seeing clients. And they do it all with this thing they call the Safe Salon Commitment in place. This commitment was developed in partnership with the top infectious disease doctors. What it does is maximize safety and sanitization in all of the Supercut salons. So when you're ready for a haircut, most people are now. They've been doing it for a while since we opened things up. They're prepared and ready for you. You can learn more about the Safe Salon Commitment, and you can schedule your visit at any of the Memphis Supercuts by going to supercuts.com. We take the time out. We'll come back, and we got to put a wrap on this second hour of this Wednesday edition of Sports Time.
Memphis Tiger fans, catch the Blue and Gray Show with John Stacy and Drew Barrett, Sunday nights from 5 till 7, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta. Snow crab, king crab, dungeons and more. Fish platter, $9.99. Lobster tail, $10.99. Jumbo wings, 99 cents each. Download the app or search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at crabkingstn.com. Crab Kings Seafood and Pasta, Memphis favorites. Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta. Snow crab, king crab, dungeons and more. Fish platter, $9.99. Lobster tail, $10.99. Jumbo wings, 99 cents each. Download the app or search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at crabkingstn.com. Crab Kings Seafood and Pasta, Memphis favorites.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Have you thought about the holidays yet? Our friends at Window Genie not only clean windows, gutters, and concrete, they also hang holiday lights. Window Genie has a Christmas light rental program that includes custom design, installation, maintenance, takedown, and storage for your home or office. The best part, they're offering 15% off if you book by November 1st. Spend more time with friends and family this year and less time on the ladder. Call today for a free estimate, 901-424-4100. Window Genie, 901-424-4100.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Logan and Brett Norsworthy.
Wednesday, disappearing right before our very eyes. Thank you for joining us. We've got a couple of things on the First Bank text line. One asked us to repeat the email address for the Blitz, and you heard their publisher, Jim Gum, say that if you email him, he'll send you the Blitz for the rest of the year. You can't beat that deal, and this is really good. So here's what it is. Take advantage, guys. It's cost you nothing. It's Jim Gum, JIMGUMM.blitz, BLITZ, at yahoo.com. Jim Gum. .blitz@yahoo.com, and you will thank everybody later, I promise. Another texter at 67129 at the First Bank text line says, all high school football games in Mississippi are now being played tomorrow. They're being moved up a day because of Hurricane Delta. This would be the second time, Brett, that I can remember that high school football games have been moved. In Memphis, they were moved, like, what was it, the first or second week they moved up a day or two? Second week? Because of this crazy weather we are having.
Very challenging. Yeah. And you know, I just don't know that Oxford, the school, even in a year with no fans, is really built to move that much on the fly. I mean, it's a little bitty town, and you know, so much goes into a football Saturday, even with no fans. It's almost, you know, they years ago they told the SEC no more Thursday night games unless it's holiday. No more like Thursday night in October games. It's just not built for that. It's so hard to do. But this year with no fans possibly would be easy, and this is an extraordinary set of circumstances.
Oh yeah, this is just crazy. And then final texter. For at least this segment, and this comes from a guy that says Memphis sent out a letter this summer that at a 6-foot spacing scenario, all season ticket holders would be accommodated. Now we're at 6 feet; it's only 12,000. What happened? Well, if you were listening yesterday when we had Laird Veach on, because of the way it is set up, people don't want to be around larger groups. People are not buying tickets at larger groups. So instead of having 8 groups of 8 or groups of 6, maybe groups of 12, which could go into the initial planning when you thought you were going to get 6 feet spacing, you could still do groups that were together, that had bought season tickets together, and do it that way. Well, they found that really the demand was at groups of 2 to 4, right? So that's families, that's father, son, that's, you know, maybe a bunch of guys that have, always go to the games together and they feel safe with each other. But it's 2 to 4, and in that grouping, it comes out to 12,000. That's the reason, and Laird said that yesterday, that's the reason that the number is at 12,000. So glad we could make that explanation for all of you.
There's been zero, and there's no reason other than honesty for me to defend the University of Memphis. And Dave wouldn't either in this format. If they were wrong, we would be saying it, but they're not. First of all, they have to report to a lot of other people. I think that was probably their well and good intentions, and then things have changed so radically, as we know, and they can do it so quickly. I do not think there was any malice whatsoever.
I don't either. I think the explanation was it's all about math and the way they space it. It came to 12,000. It'll be interesting to see what that final number will be with an 18,000-seat arena, how many you can really get when you are spacing it the way they're going to space it.
And if you remember the Keep Memphis Roaring program, I believe 2 months ago, a lot of season ticket holders had already transferred that money to next year.
Yeah.
Or just basically eaten it already. So that's why a lot of season ticket holders are now having to buy individual tickets, because you probably already decided to roll it over to next year.
You decided that, or you donated it, and the donation for this year is a donation, right? So
you don't get it back.
Yeah, that's the way it is kind of working. This portion of the show is brought to you by Shell Dunn. You know the Tigers are playing, and so is Shell Dunn Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. As your quarterback, he's about to carry another property over the goal line. Actually, it's to the closing table. This time it's a condo at Poplar East at 983 June Road, number 1, near Yates and Poplar. He's co-listed that with Kelly Erb. With fresh paint, new carpet, it's a totally rare 3-bedroom, 2-bath, downstairs flat. That's right, no steps. No steps. I love that. So if you or someone you know is thinking of selling, you go, Sheldon's going to always say talk to 2 or 3 agents. Make sure Sheldon is one of them. Find out how his highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbox option can mean a lot for you. If you want information on this property before it's gone, call or email Sheldon at memphisrelocate.com. On this property or any others, remember, when you want the job done, you call Sheldon. That's Sheldon Rosengarten, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 2 hours in the books. When we come back, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference will join us. They've got basketball season. It looks like that's going to all happen with 20 conference games. How's the planning going? What's going on with football? The commissioner knows. Mike Oresco is next.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Oh, my stomach.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews. The same fast relief of Pepto-Bismol, now in a delightful chew.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Hey, Tennessee, we know that sports betting is almost here in Tennessee, and FanDuel Sportsbook is giving you an exclusive offer to get started, and you can get started right now. FanDuel Sportsbook giving users $50 in free bets just for signing up. You heard that right. They're giving you $50 in free site credit to register and verify early, no deposit required. FanDuel, America's #1 sports betting site for a reason. They've got odds on all the biggest sports and a simple, intuitive app that makes it easy to find the bet you're looking for, then lock it in. And unlike other sports books, once you win, FanDuel gets you your cash in as little as 24 hours, and the reason is simple, because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out their fantastic app for yourself. Just be sure to sign up and register using promo code CASH so they know we sent you when you verify your account, and you'll receive $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. That's promo code CASH to get $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. You must be 21 or older and present in the state of Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. The commissioner of the AAC, Mike Oresco, set to join us after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for the town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. They know we're living in a world today that time matters, and that's why they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in 45 minutes in time to do it over your lunch hour with time to spare. You're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. Every make, every model, and if by chance they don't have it on the lot, they will go out and find the car you want just for you at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutosales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
It is another crazy day in the world of sports. We've got weather-related movement. We've got COVID cases. We've got a problem with the Tennessee Titans not following protocol, getting busted, and who knows if they don't forfeit their game with Buffalo if they're not able to play. So there is a lot going on today. The American Athletic Conference formally announced they will have a 20-game conference schedule for their basketball season. That means the U of M will be able to play 7 non-conference games. And we are fortunate to have with us the commissioner of the American, Mike Oresco. I'm going to ask you this question. It's just honestly, I want your reaction. If you knew a month ago or so what you know now, and you've got Memphis having to miss games for COVID, you've got 2 teams that haven't played a conference game, Mike, would you have still started this season?
Hi, Dave. Great to be with you and Brett. Absolutely. Unequivocally, yes. I would absolutely start it and hope we can finish it with a representative number of games. We've built in flexibility, Dave, so we can play in December. Memphis, Houston, for example, has been rescheduled for December 5. We haven't lost any conference games yet that can't be made up. We did lose some non-conference games. If I had to do something differently, I probably would have played. I would have recommended playing 10 conference games and maybe 1 non-conference game. We've had trouble with the non-conference games with the protocols potential, that other conferences had. Mm-hmm. But, we all wanted to play non-conference games. Our ADs did, I did. We obviously lost a lot of the P5 games, and that was one of the reasons we wanted to play these games. But 20, hindsight is always 20/20, sure. Dave. But I would absolutely I think we're giving our student athletes a chance to play. And by the way, you now notice that everybody's playing, and we took a lot of heat.
Right.
He gave us a hard time. We thought we'd put together an outstanding medical group, and we felt the safety protocols were good, and they have been. We haven't seen evidence at this point of transmission on the field. And we hope that continues, that we don't find any evidence of it. The testing protocols have been good. No, I wouldn't do anything differently.
And I think on the field of play, once again, Commissioner, you've got 4, maybe 5 really good football teams.
Brett, you're absolutely right. We do. Memphis, UCF, and Cincinnati we knew would be powerful teams. And even though Memphis lost the game to SMU, they hadn't played in a month. A little rusty at the beginning, had some bad breaks at the end. We're on the road. That's a really good team. SMU is a good team. Houston is my sleeper, and what I mean by that is I think they're underrated. I think Dana Holgerson's a good coach. Got a lot of talent there, a lot of red shirts, a lot of transfers. In addition to a good nucleus, they're going to be very good. Tulsa could even win the West. They're that good. You saw them beat UCF at UCF. We've got 3 teams that are going to struggle this year in all likelihood. Obviously, East Carolina and USF are still in the rebuilding stages. Navy's struggling this year. They obviously were 11-2 last year and had a wonderful quarterback, Malcolm Perry. So they've struggled a little bit. But the other 8 could all beat each other. I'm convinced of that. It's a really strong conference, and I'm hoping that if we end up with a 2-loss champion, that champion still goes to New Year's Day, because our league is like a P5 league now, Brett and Dave. We play that way, and we really are. And so when we have a few losses, we shouldn't get penalized, because these other conferences, I don't think we've lost a game. We did lose 1 game to the Sun Belt, but we won all the other ones. And Arkansas State upset Kansas State, but you saw what Memphis did to Arkansas State. Memphis just ran into some unfortunate trouble, and they'll be fine. They'll have a good season. We've got a lot of good players in this league, and we've had some real injuries, too. We lost the best receiver at SMU. We lost best the best running back at Tulsa. We lost the best running back at Tulane. Season-ending injury. Kenneth Gainwell opted out. We lost the best receiver at UCF. So we've lost some good players, but the depth in this conference is much greater than it's been before.
And this will still be 1 versus 2. My question is, you've got Temple hasn't played a game, and I'm sure they're going to, hopefully they're going to get all the conference games in. Same thing with Houston, your sleeper team. If they can't get them all in, if something happens to them, God forbid, that happened to Memphis, where you missed a couple of games and you run out of time, how will you sort of tie break to get 1 versus 2?
We have a tiebreaker procedure, Dave, and it's based on the loss column more than it is the win column. We also, to qualify for our championship, you've got to play a representative number of games, and typically it's within 1 of the average number of games played by everyone. We're hoping to get those 8 games in because we have those 2 dates in December to make up games. But if we don't, we do have tiebreakers in place, and we also have the ability, obviously, to look at the number of games played. So I think we'll be okay. Again, we've done really well recently with the virus. In terms of positives, we've had virtually none. Just a handful here and there. Memphis, I think, is over their issue. And so if we can keep that up, and knock on wood, you don't know that you can because it can happen. I live, day to day, hour to hour, because at 4:30 on a Friday you might be fine, and then you find out later that the antigen test came in and you had some issues that you have to address. But so far, we've been able to play our conference games. We've been able to play a number of non-conference games, even though we lost some. And a lot of the ones we lost, most of the ones we lost, didn't have anything to do with our teams. It had to do with the other teams, the non-conference teams. Especially, look at Houston. They had an issue with North Texas. It wasn't Houston's fault. They had an issue with Baylor. They had an issue with, some other teams they were going to play. SMU had an issue with TCU. It's just been unfortunate that, Tulsa had an issue with Arkansas State. These things happen. So the non-conference games have caused us a bit of a problem. But nevertheless, our teams are still on track to play as many as 9, 10, 11, 12. Even SMU has a chance to play 13 games. So it's still we still have a chance to play a representative season, and I think that's the key.
We just said with a previous guest that you commissioners this year, administrators in college sports, in sports in general, heck, everywhere, politics, everybody, earning your money this year, it has been a challenge. Could you have ever dreamed it would have this many meetings, this much data, this much information, Commissioner?
Brad, it's been something. It's been Groundhog Day with new information day after day. The meetings. I'm really proud of our medical group. We put that together back in May. Dr. Greg Stewart, Dr. Franklin from here in Memphis is on it. It really has been a challenge, as you know. On the other hand, this is it's sort of like The Godfather. This is the life we have chosen, right? So we have to deal with the challenges. In addition, I remember from my graduate school days a statement by Edward R. Murrow. He said, difficulty is an excuse history has never accepted. So we couldn't accept difficulty. We had to, or we couldn't use that as an excuse. We had to get through it. We had to do what we can to allow our student athletes to play. And by the way, if at any point it looked like it wasn't going to be safe, we'd have shut it down. Our presidents and our ADs would have said, no, we can't go forward. But we felt that we could do it. And it's been, weekly, twice weekly, 3 times, sometimes meetings with our medical group. They've been terrific. We've obviously had to monitor a lot of the situations. We've had to work on testing. It's gotten more sophisticated. We're now up to 2 PCR tests a week along with an antigen test. That's that point of care rapid test that we do Friday, which is an additional safeguard. And so far that's worked out really well. By the time basketball season rolls around, you might see daily testing. You might even see daily testing later in the football season. But we're probably not going to abandon those PCR tests. I almost feel like I should now start studying for a medical degree after the past 7 months. But I'm not a doctor, and I don't. But the point is, those tests are the gold standard, the PCRs, and we're also again doing antigen. It's expensive. It's costing the conference, probably cost the conference millions of dollars, but we're happy to pay it because health and safety always came first, and that's been Brett, that's been the focus all along. I'm starting to get the competitive juices again. Now we're starting to talk about rankings and all of that, and I'd be happy to talk about that. But for a long time, I didn't care what happened. I just wanted to make sure we played safely and that we were able to play a representative season, and that if the evidence mounted that we couldn't, that we would accept that and do what we had to do. So that's been
You've
the
done
issue,
a great
really.
job. But no question,
Well,
and I
very
really
kind of you,
resented
but,
I really resented some of the ones that went first, and the AAC was opening weekend, September 5, and some of the critics, boy, they'll do anything for that football. They'll do anything for that money. No, they would not. They would not be playing a down. They wouldn't be playing a second if they deemed it unsafe. And as you said, then everybody else followed suit. Y'all were just the forerunners of it.
Well, we learned something here. First off, my doctor is Arthur Franklin. I did not even know he was on your committee. That makes me feel good. That's one.
He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, and
He's terrific.
he was a kicker for us.
The old punter.
You know that he was a punter for the U of M.
No kidding.
No, yeah. And the second thing is that you just brought up, because I've always felt high schools were at a real disadvantage because of this, because they couldn't afford the testing. And even some college programs, I was under the assumption that the American Athletic Conference schools, each school was paying out that money for that testing. You're saying to me the conference itself is paying for this testing?
Some of the schools are paying for some of the testing, and then we're picking up some of it, especially the antigen testing, because that's something we weren't planning to do originally, and we're helping out with the second PCR test. But no, the schools are paying it as well. I mean, it all comes out of the same place, as you know, because it affects their payout. But it's a combination of the schools and the conference, and we're fortunate, Dave. We've got a good reserve in our conference. We've been able to utilize that. Also, we may, for the most part, end up paying some of this through our operational savings. We've saved money on travel. We've saved money on all sorts of things this year. We've cut our budget to the bone, so we'll have some savings there to cover this. Incidentally, Darryl Turner, the Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, is also on our medical advisory group, along with Dr. Franklin. And the other thing, I do appreciate what Brett just said, though, because we took a lot of heat, and I thought our people were being criticized unfairly. Our presidents took this very seriously, as did our ADs. Nobody would have played it down, as Brett said, if we didn't feel it was safe. And we had writers say we were being reckless and we were doing this or that. We spent literally hours and hours and hours every single day from March through the start of the season, trying to perfect our protocols. We've got operational protocols that are as strict as any. I think our protocols have been better than a lot of the other conferences. I'm really proud of what our guys have done. And I think, we felt that ultimately we should give our student athletes a chance. And the other issue was, and we know that if they didn't play, they could have all sorts of, emotional and other issues that come with not being able to do something that you've wanted to do your whole life and trained your whole life to do. And more than that, we thought that they'd be safer, and I think this has proven true in our protocols than outside it. That myocarditis issue came up, and we got a prominent cardiologist to address us and say, look, no reason not to play. We were already doing heart workups on that, and now anyone who tests positive gets a heart workup to make sure there's no issue. And incidentally, we felt that all along that we would deal with any issue that came up. Our doctors were confident that there were no medical reasons, not to play. There might be other reasons not to play, but we felt that ultimately, if we got the best opinion, and we did, and we consulted doctors from the advisory groups from other conferences, we didn't just leave it to our own people. They welcomed that. We had this good give and take. So I think we did what. No, the caveat. Look, we're not out of the woods yet. This is going to be a long season. There are going to be some issues. We've already had to make decisions. But one of the reasons I think the protocols are working is we have had to postpone and cancel a number of games, and that shows that we're not going to play when we don't think it's safe. I think some of these games could have been played. I don't think there's any question about it. But we decided for the sake of safety that we wouldn't play. Part of that was okay, even if we may have only had a couple of positives, we weren't sure that there might not be some more. Another issue might be there was a position group that really wasn't, deep enough, and we didn't want to have kids playing who really had never played and would be put in a tough position. So there are aspects of health and safety that aren't necessarily directly related to whether you're going to transmit the virus. Sometimes you just want to make sure that if your team is down a certain number of players, you're not going to be playing and putting kids at risk who shouldn't really be out there.
Well, that just makes sense.
Been a whole lot of things that, frankly, and by the way, basketball is going to be an even bigger challenge. You're playing indoors, when the virus, who knows, might be making, more of a comeback in the cooler weather. You've got a limited roster, so if you have a positive or two, it could wipe out, a whole couple of weeks and maybe even more. So, you don't know whether, the season is going to be, played the way you would normally want.
Well, I wanted to get into that because we're going to run out of time if I don't here. And you formally announced today 20 games. How will this work, and where is that flexibility built in if you have to miss a couple of games in the middle of 1 week?
Well, there's not as much flexibility, Dave, unfortunately. We have some dates where we can do makeup games, but it's not the same where in football, we were able to carve out 2 full weeks. And we also had a week when I think 7 teams had byes. It doesn't work that way in basketball. And as you know, if you have a team that's quarantined or a team that can't play, they could miss as many as 2-3 games a week. And if it's a 2-week period, it could wipe out, a quarter of their season. We're not playing as many games this year, as you know. The idea behind the 20 conference games is we wanted to equalize men and women. We didn't want to put the women at any kind of disadvantage to the men. We think it's safer to play within the conference. We learned that lesson in football. We found that other conferences weren't necessarily doing what we did. Now, we wouldn't let them play us unless they ultimately did what we needed to do, but it was a real struggle, and we had to do a lot of it ourselves. I don't want to point the finger at other conferences, but some of them just did not do some of the things we're doing and didn't necessarily have the resources to do it. And as you saw, we lost a lot of non-conference games. The other issue is when you've been together 7 months like we have, and our ADs have been talking to each other for 7 months, our medical group has been talking to each other for 7 months. They know the protocol's cold. They know what they need to do. There really are no issues. So it's really easier and we think probably safer to play as more non-conference games. Normally we only play 16 for the women, 18 for the men. The second thing is if you look at, we're going to try to create some bubbles around, multiple team events, but the bubble concept was probably a little overblown. There's only so much you can do. These are students, and the way the season works out, you do have some vacation periods where you can do more isolation, but you're still going to have those issues. What we're looking at now is whether down the road the CDC is going to let us test out of quarantine. We're looking hard at contact tracing to see just who needs to be quarantined, because 1 or 2 positives again can wipe out a basketball team where it typically would not wipe out a 100 person football roster, 80 people, 70 people, especially when you can do a lot of social distancing in football. Again, you're playing indoors in basketball. You've got the scorers table. Officials come from all different conferences. As you know, we have consortiums. They could be officiating 4 or 5 games a week. We're really working hard to figure out how we're going to test them, because the testing is complicated, and this has been very, very complicated. And the rapid tests are great, but whether you can just do rapid tests is open to question. Maybe we'll have daily testing by then. That may help basketball quite a bit. But anyway, bottom line, I know you don't have all the time in the world here, but bottom line is it's going to be a real challenge. And football is going to continue to be a challenge. This will not be easy at all, but I think we've given our student athletes a chance to compete safely in a way that, frankly, would at least be a representative season, even if all the games aren't played.
I hadn't thought about the referees before from different conferences. That does make it more complex. Let me clarify, though. Is there a chance there will be some conference events in a bubble prior to your Fort Worth showdown, the tournaments for both the men and the women?
It's going to be hard. We might be able to create some multiple team events where there is a limited bubble. We might, what we're trying to do is arrange games in a way, the schedule, so that we don't have as much travel, and therefore, that will help, certainly. We're even figure out maybe we can charter, together. Maybe there are some men's and women's charters together where we won't have to risk, multiple flights. We're looking at things like that. I can't tell you exactly what we're going to be able to do, but we've been working hard on it. And the bubble concept, again, it's a difficult one because, you've got student athletes who are going to school. You're going to have some interaction. The one thing I'll say, though, basketball, I think they'll be the same. But in football, our student athletes have really done a heck of a job when you think about it. When you look at this, is obviously a very highly contagious, highly transmissible disease, and yet they have really done a great job trying to avoid the situations where the disease is transmitted. And those are situations that they don't involve doing bad things. They just involve doing normal things, but you can't do them. Because if you get together with a group of friends, or you get together, at a party,
or in Memphis's case, parents, even with parents.
Well, that's exactly right. I was about to say families. Unfortunately, we've even we've had to cut back on interaction with families, and that was an issue I think possibly at Notre Dame, but definitely at Memphis, and that was traced, and unfortunately, it's easy to have a problem. But I think when you look at the number of tests, when you're looking at I get the results from the Monday test, the Wednesday test, the Friday test. And when I see tests, I see 1,500 tests and I see 2 or 3 positives or 4 positives. It's pretty remarkable. Or sometimes we'll see none. Schools will report in as we go through the week, no positives this week. That's pretty remarkable when you look at, and fortunately in our communities, as you know, we had issues in Tennessee, we had issues elsewhere. We have a lot of Southern teams, and for a while there, that was a concern in the South. But guess what? The rates have gone down, the percentages have gone down. It's been pretty stabilized, and that community spread was a real issue for us. We had to look out for that. We had to look out for the campus situation because if we have we call it the ACRAT, it's basically a way to determine, what the American risk assessment tool is and whether if the percentage is too high on this, it's a risk assessment grade we give, and if it's too high, we just decide we're not going to play that game this weekend. Fortunately, we've been in pretty good shape on that tool, but it includes what's it look like on campus that week, what's it look like in the community, what are the positives on the team, what are the quarantines, what are the contact tracing, what's it showing us, what is happening with the depth. As you know, if you don't have any offensive linemen, you're not going to play the game. So,
absolutely.
Those are in basketball. Look, it's going to be another tough situation, but I have a feeling that they'll do a great job, just like our football players have. And we'll have our Olympic sports. Let's not forget them. They're going to start playing again later in the winter, spring, and the fall sports have been moved to spring. Going to be a challenge there too, but I think they'll all do a great job as well. They're really trying hard.
Last thing, Mr. Commissioner, I got 15 seconds. That's it. It's simple. When do you think you'll have that basketball schedule?
It might be a few weeks. Yeah, it may still be 2 or 3 weeks probably. I don't know whether it would be any sooner than that. We got a lot of work to do on it still.
You've been very kind to give us so much of your time today. We always enjoy chatting with you. We'll do it again soon.
Thank you.
Dave, thank you. And Brett, thank you. Appreciate it very much. And by the way, please, you and your families and all your listeners stay well.
You too.
The community continues to do great. And we'll look forward to, in 2 weeks, UCF has a big one against your own Memphis team. Yep. That should be a great game. Thanks again for having me.
Thank
you.
Very much. We appreciate it. That is the Commissioner of the American, Mike Oresco. He's brought to you in part by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, those famous tune-ups, and now the hot water heater that's tankless. Did you notice your water not heating as well as it did last winter? During cold winter months, the groundwater's colder. It requires more energy to heat the water. Sometimes old, inefficient, tanked water heaters can't keep up. It may be time for new technology. Get in the 2020s, get a tankless water heater from Conway Services. It never runs out of hot water. And it's the perfect time because John is now going to give you, well, basically a tankless with 12 months interest-free, or he'll give you $250, that's dollars, for that old tank water heater. Plus, the energy-saving models only heat the water you use, so you save money on your gas bill every month and never worry about that tank bursting in your attic because there is no tank. Just call the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals. That's Conway at 384-3511, 384-3511. We take a break. When we come back, Steve Earhart, Big Cheese, head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He's got to be smiling. Now he knows he can have 6 feet spacing. We'll see how many he thinks he can get in for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl when we come back.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We're here to help. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $32.99. Plus a $10 bonus reward if you're an AutoZone Rewards member. Not a member? Don't worry. You can sign up fast right here in store or on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Election Day is November 3rd. If you plan to vote by mail, plan ahead at usps.com/votinginfo. There you will find helpful resources, such as guidance for successfully using the mail, links to find your state's rules and deadlines, information for military and overseas voters, and more. The U.S. Postal Service is ready to deliver for you. Make sure you're ready too. Start today at usps.com/votinginfo.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Try Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill for a fast-acting relief of
Honey Lemon.
not to mention a soothing chill. So remember, Vicks VapoCool Drops are
Honey Lemon.
and
Honey Lemon. Honey Lemon.
yeah, Honey Lemon Chill. Get fast-acting relief with Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill. Use as directed.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
It was really nice chatting with the commissioner. A lot of insight we just got. It's pretty obvious still a lot is unsettled to be determined, like this basketball schedule. And it'll be interesting. We're going to have to wait 2 or 3 weeks. He made that pretty darn clear. And if you missed any of that interview, that is our featured audio now on the Sports 56 website if you want to go and listen. Big Cheese, head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, is going to join us in a minute. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by Eflin, the Eflin Insurance Group, the entire Eflin Insurance team. That's a group of pros with access to leading companies, like 10 of them, for the right home and auto program that's not only going to fit your needs but your budget as well. They sit you down. They find out all about you. Then they determine the best way to go. And if you're looking for commercial insurance, because these guys do personal and business, they're ready for you that way too. The same sort of treatment. They sit you down, they check out what your real needs are, and then they've got virtually unlimited access to programs to protect small to mid-sized businesses. And I don't want to forget about life insurance, because Eflin's got you covered there too, with quotes from 15 well-respected companies. You're always going to get the right deal that fits what your needs may be. Call Grant, Andrew, or Heath at 901-386-4777. That's GUR, because they're Tiger fans. Again, that number for the Eflin Insurance team, 901-386-4777. Get protected with the Eflin Insurance team. Steve Earhart joins us every week in this time slot to talk about the business of college football, the business of the bowls, and the Big Cheese and head honcho has to have a smile on his face today, because you found out yesterday at the Liberty Bowl, for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, you will have 6 feet spacing, at least as of now. Maybe it'll be even less, who knows, in a few months. But, Steve, what does that mean for you and your game?
Well, yeah, and it's a great opportunity for our whole community, and especially for the University of Memphis as they come into that big game with UCF here in about 10 days, and then, but yeah, our game, we're looking forward to December 31st, so that's still about 10 weeks away. But yeah, that's going to be a lot better here, because it was just too scattered out that first week there back when Memphis played Arkansas State. So yeah, it'll give us a much better opportunity. And we're competing with so many other cities, so many other bowl games, and this year especially, it's a challenging year anyway. But then we've got all these new bowls. Those new multi-billion-dollar palaces out in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. They have bowls. Boston's got a new bowl called the Fenway Bowl. South Carolina's got a new bowl. So it's very important for us to hang on to our territory here and continue to have a successful AutoZone Liberty Bowl. So, again, we want to thank all our season ticket holders and all the folks that have supported the bowl, our 150 corporate partners and all the season ticket holders, that now they'll get a chance to have a good seat at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl on December 31st.
Well, how will you do that? If you're at 12,000, how many season tickets? You usually sell about, 25,000 season tickets, and then you've got all these other guys, or maybe it's 20, and then you split the remainders with the schools. How will you prioritize how you're going to do that?
Well, certainly the priority, and I think we'll be able to go. That's what the university, on very short notice. The university was put in a tough spot because they had that really restricted thing, and then they went out to all their season ticket holders to say, okay, move things either into next year or donate and that kind of thing. So I think actually the 6-foot rule gives you somewhat slightly more. The stadium actually does the spacing there, but I think you can get closer to 15,000 with the 6-foot deal. But our priorities will be to our local folks, the people that have been buying tickets over all the years, and to our key sponsors who, buy tickets. And I think we'll be able to pretty close to accommodate all our loyal people that have been with us over the years.
Tomorrow is 12 weeks until December 31st, so you have 12 weeks until kickoff starting tomorrow. Steve, when will we get an official TV schedule and announcement? We know some bowls aren't dressing out. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, they are. When do we get it officially?
ESPN has a particular unique situation because, they actually own 17 bowl games, and 2 of them that they've already had to postpone or cancel for this year, or whatever you want to say it, the Bahamas Bowl and the Hawaii Bowl, for obvious reasons, because they got to, go over water and restrictions on, coming into, the state of Hawaii or down to the Bahamas. But I think some of those cities are struggling with, what are they going to do? How are they going to do it? And how is ESPN going to do it? So they've been kind of holding back, getting the official schedule out to all the bowls. I was on the phone today with a bowl in Houston, which, is jointly owned by ESPN and the Houston Texans of the NFL. And they don't have their date either. But But we've been basically told that the December 31st, which is our traditional spot there, late afternoon, and that's kind of what we're counting on. That's what they've kind of said with even before releasing it. But I hate to keep saying, because they've been saying, "Oh, it's coming shortly, it's coming shortly." But we're charging full speed ahead for December 31.
You at all concerned that with the combination of flu and a second wave here that this could go backwards, or do you just charge ahead?
I think we've learned from probably Commissioner Sankey of the SEC is don't make any decisions until you absolutely have to, and then be flexible and be able to move. And right now there's no other path other than charging ahead, but doing it in a very safe way. And actually, we're having a conference Zoom meeting tomorrow with the Big 12, who plays on the other side, and working out some of the protocols that we'll have here and making sure that their teams are safe when they get here. But you're right. I mean, and I think both of those leagues, and the American too. I listened to your great interview with Mike Oresco. I mean, and the American's one of our partners too. Of course, we've had the University of Memphis in the game 3 years ago, and then Navy last year. So we've been working with all three of those conferences, and you can see that those three conferences have basically been leading the way in the safety protocols and in being flexible and adjusting. And so, yeah, there may be some, ebbs and flows as we go along here in these next 12 weeks. But, we're prepared for anything, but the only way to be ready is to get ready.
Give us the plausible scenario for Memphis versus Ole Miss in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Well, that would be something, wouldn't it? We certainly hope that Ole Miss, and every time I talk to Archie Manning, he says, "When are you going to get Ole Miss stats?" Give me. I always misquote. Is it 28 years that they haven't since they've been in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl? How many years is it?
1992, defeated Air Force.
Okay, I have it right then. 28 years. And so even though they're right here around the corner, but remember it took us 59 years to get the University of Memphis in the game when they played against Iowa State 3 years ago. So, it could still happen. And quite frankly, we might have a better shot this year because, as you guys have talked about in your show, the NCAA has, they've, for a 1-year only deal, they've said bowl records are not going to be the requirement of placing teams in the various bowl games, because obviously, like in the SEC, with only playing 10, conference games, they're going to beat each other up. Usually a team, picks up 2, 3, maybe 4 wins in the non-conference, gives them a better record. But, many bowl games will have teams that might be 5-5. They might be 4-6. They might be, 4-5, or even, if somebody loses a game. But I think this year it'll be more on the brand name of the university that wants to be in the bowl game. And from talking to the various ADs as well as the players, I mean, they're already playing a shortened season. They've been working their tails off under challenging circumstances, and an opportunity to play that one more game in a bowl game, and especially these seniors who've worked so hard, and a lot of their season was under duress and taken away from them. But everybody has indicated to us that they very much like to have that kind of penultimate final game of the year in a bowl game, and get the wonderful gifts and have a chance to celebrate and kind of send off in a real positive way. So we could certainly have an Ole Miss, and Stats, better than anybody, if you can give me their record right now, and and I think there'll be a lot of flexibility with the commissioners when we're sitting down and working out who's going to play in which bowl game, and maybe geography plays a big part of that. So I think your scenario, has got some good opportunity to occur.
I think other than the New Year's Day 6 slot, which Memphis aspires to get, I think if you said that was the possibility of playing in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl against Ole Miss, I think we'd say sign us up with the one clause for the New Year's Day 6. But I don't know how with commissioners and the ability to get sub 500 teams in, I would think if I were Bowlesby or I were Sankey, I'd go, wait a second, I got a contract with you, and I got 8-9 different league contracts here that says my teams are getting in if they're eligible. Now everybody's eligible. So if I'm Bowlesby, I'm not going to say, okay, we'll give a slot from the Liberty Bowl for Memphis.
AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
The AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We're going to give up that slot to accommodate Memphis. I don't see how that happens.
Well, and Dave, you may certainly be right. And we've had a great relationship with all three conferences. And I think there'll probably be some, just like there's been cooperation, especially, as you said, even with Commissioner Resco. Those three conferences were sort of in the lead there, in setting the protocols and that kind of thing. Like I was talking to the Holiday Bowl guy the other day and said, now maybe for the Holiday Bowl played out in San Diego, is it better for them to have San Diego State play against UCLA or something like that, so that the geography is more amenable to them? But you're right. On the other end, we'd certainly be happy with a Big 12 SEC matchup. And tomorrow you'll see that when we send out our email weekly communication to everybody, and we have got some great followers. Thanks for following us there. And anybody who wants to jump on and follow us either at AutoZone Liberty Bowl, on our Facebook or on our Twitter, handle. But we're putting out, I think it's 6 of the national prognosticators. I call them that because it's one of the most popular things is looking for, the projections of these national guys. And I know CBS with Jerry Palm, who's often on your show, he's projecting that. I think he's projecting Oklahoma versus Tennessee. Somebody else is projecting Texas versus Ole Miss. So, now that Texas and Oklahoma maybe have dropped a game or two, maybe they're not going to be in the New Year's Six like they always are. And we've never had Texas or Oklahoma in the game, and they're two vaunted, absolute brand name, two of the most recognized programs in the country. So, there could be some surprises for us this year in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
That'd be a heck of a game. I'd take either one right now. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it, and we'll do this again next week.
And thanks to everybody who's supporting us over all these years with the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
That is Steve Earhart, the Big Cheese, the head honcho, brought to you by the Memphis Tourism and Sports Council. These folks are such good folks. They are all Memphis. Kevin Kane, Malvin Gibson, J.J. Greer. Their job is to bring sporting events to Memphis to help fuel the economy. They're always helping out Steve Earhart and trying to make his job a little easier. They were the ones that were lobbying to try to get folks into 901 FC when that was the first of all the sports around here that actually had a live gate. They're just doing everything from the Green Line to the river crossing, whenever it's sports-oriented, really tourism-oriented. The Memphis Sports Council and Memphis Tourism is there for Memphis. We are proud to have them as a part of our team here at Sports 56. Back in a minute. Oh, my goodness, it's already time for Crunch Time.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Election Day is November 3rd. If you plan to vote by mail, plan ahead at usps.com/votinginfo. There, you will find helpful resources, such as guidance for successfully using the mail, links to find your state's rules and deadlines, information for military and overseas voters, and more. The U.S. Postal Service is ready to deliver for you. Make sure you're ready too. Start today at usps.com/votinginfo.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a train that just hit a car.
Sir, what is your location? Look around for a street sign, sir.
It's 8th and Orchard. 8th and Orchard.
Okay, very good. 8th and Orchard. Sir, help is on the way.
Why would he do that? The train still doesn't stop. You have to get there now.
At a railway crossing, even if the engineer sees you and hits the brakes, it can take a mile for the train to stop. And for you, that's too late. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
I'm here with the outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have a dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brett Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat with the deal, we get insane.
Well, we've got one baseball game in the books today. Atlanta knocked off Miami, so now the Braves lead that thing 2-0. We could have had a sweep in the American League. Oakland has overtaken Houston 9-7. They're in the bottom of the eighth in that game, but the Houston Astros have a couple on base. Nobody out, runners at first and second, so that one is far from over. And, of course, if the Astros come back and knock off the A's, that would be a 3-game sweep, and they would make it into the LCS. This portion of the show brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch and Genesis of Olive Branch, both in the same building. And this is the building that I think is where you will find the way car business should be done. They've set the standard so many different ways. First off, they got the product. I mean, this technology is amazing. First of all, Hyundai tied for the most number of top safety vehicle picks in 2020, and they're even better in 2021. And by the way, those models have been coming in. According to J.D. Power, when you talk about Hyundai Tucson, number one in their category. Hyundai Veloster, number one in their category. I've been driving a G70 and a G90. There's not a better luxury car. And now I've got this new technology called Smart Park with my 2021 Sonata. You can't beat the product, and then you can't beat the way these people care for you. And it all starts with a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on every new car, every Hyundai, every Genesis, and a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package on each of those new cars, every one of them. This is why they are so good. They've been together for 13 years. They've been helping out folks for a long, long time. They're the best. Go see for yourself. Tell them we sent you when you go to Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. It's time for Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye!
Hello, Haskins.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
On one, on two, on three, take.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. I've learned in these baseball playoffs that the Braves, they could win it this year. Wouldn't shock me if they did, but if they don't, they're going to win it soon. In 21 or 22, they probably were better than the Cardinals last year, but they got a little seasoning last year, and they're getting more this year. They'll win it soon. What'd you learn, Dave?
You know what? I learned this last night, that a guy I have a lot of respect for, high school coach of girls soccer, David Wolf, is almost like the John Wooden of girls soccer. Collierville and Houston went at it last night, and David Wolf's program at Houston just keeps on winning. They beat Collierville, come from behind fashion to win the district. They've won countless state championships. I often asked him, why is it you're so successful there? And he says, let me start with girls. Girls are tougher than guys, mentally tougher. And he's figured out a way to reach them, and all they do at Houston High School girls soccer is win, win, win.
When you were out in August, we had David on with John Varlas talking about the restart and all the plans, and it was a lot of fun talking to him. He is a winner. Could have done without. LSU-Mizzou game scheduled for Baton Rouge now will be played in Columbia at Faurot Field due to Hurricane Delta. Ole Miss and Alabama in limbo, as it looks like it will literally be coming over the stadium around kickoff. Always can do without a hurricane coming over the stadium at kickoff, Dave.
Would you want to see that game moved? Would you want to see it played on Sunday?
If that would work, but Sunday's no peach of a forecast.
Oh. Yeah. Or, that's why they built in this flexibility of a week for COVID, but you could apply it for a lot of different things. That's for sure. I guess I could have done without a number of the NFL stories that we are seeing going on right now, starting with Tennessee Titans, who apparently have broken protocol and practiced when they shouldn't have, and their game with Buffalo is in jeopardy. I could have done without Mahomes, who said he lost his head when he hugged Stephen Gilmore, because now Gilmore's got COVID, even though it is asymptomatic. There are some Eagles that are saying they felt like they shouldn't have played in the game the other day. Ben Roethlisberger is saying he got the short end of the stick. We've got the commissioner's number one med guy, Dan Sills, the chief medical officer of the National Football League, saying basically they could pause or reset the season if any more stuff happens. So I guess the lesson is, and I guess I realize it every other day or so, COVID's still here. We've got a long way, and I could do without that.
Keep a close eye tonight on the end of this Astros-A's games. It's a wild one. 16 runs already total scored. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bet the 2-horse in the bottom of the 8th inning.
With runners on second and third.
Runners everywhere. Charlie Morton versus Masahiro Tanaka tonight at Petco Park, where the ball cannot stay in the ballpark. Padres-Dodgers late, and Jim Cantore live in Oxford. That's never a good thing when Jim Cantore shows up in your town.
Wow. Are you serious?
No, he's not there, but I hope he doesn't get
gosh, I actually bought that for a minute. You know where he'll be, though. Where is that thing going to enter? It's supposed to enter
He'll be down there being buffeted about on the coast.
I think it's, we're supposed to enter west of New Orleans. He'll be on the coast
when he's standing against the wind and it's whipping around.
Yeah. Is he strapped into something? Well, he's a brave dude. That's all I can say.
He really is. But if he's in your town, it doesn't mean it's 75 and not a cloud in the sky.
No. It means we got a problem.
Hit the deck.
Yeah. I'll say we learned a lot today from the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. I do think they took a lot of heat because they were one of the first of the conferences that went ahead with it. I think for the most part, they've done a darn good job. Memphis has missed games, though, and Houston hasn't played a game. Temple hasn't played a game. But for the most part, you heard him say they have risk assessment. And I think you were spot on, Brett, when you stated that these presidents wouldn't play games if there's that much danger. And that's why they haven't played at Temple, and they haven't played at Houston, and that's why Memphis didn't play their second game until last week. We got to thank T.J. Reeves. We got to thank Barrett Jones. We got to thank Jimmy Gum, and I should give that out real quick again. If you would like a free copy for the rest of the year of The Blitz, and if you love college football, you'll love this. It's Jim, GUMM.blitz, BLITZ, at yahoo.com. He'll give you The Blitz for the rest of the year. So email him, ladies and gentlemen. He was fun to talk to. Mike Oresco, so incisive, and we thank Steve Earhart as well. I'm going to take the next couple of days off. I will see you on Monday. Drew and Brett will carry on. Have a great night, everyone.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation